I think one of the biggest crimes of this demographic and culture change we've been seeing the past 2 decades is how much less love boobs get.
What?
Just saying. It's been all about
elaborate,
ass.
please.
It's been all about ass for the past 20 years.
Rightly so, I dare to say.
Damn, bro.
I'll say what I think.
I think boobs are straighter
Billy,
than asses.
how about the hundreds of years ass was ignored?
I know, but I
Why are
think
you talking about that.
I think there can be room for both. I think two things can be true at the same time, Billy.
I think
Boobs are great and butts are great.
I think boob guys are straighter than ass guys.
Go on.
I think you're projecting.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the first.
Look how straight I am.
It's the first day of Pride Month.
Yeah, boob guy. Why? Because guys have asses too.
Yeah.
Guys have boobs too. You just called Big Cat out last show.
Yeah, but.
Yeah.
Damn.
You did. You said it, not me. Now Billy's like, wow, I can't believe you went there.
We're not using any of this for the show.
Yes, no, we started the show on the boobs versus ass discussion. It's an important conversation that we need to have now.
We start the show now.
Low-key, did boobs fall off? Boobs are getting L+ ratioed right now. It's sad to see. You know, I'm more of a brain guy myself.
Mm-hmm.
So
noble
blowjobs.
Billy, come on, Billy. I'm a soul man. I like brains. I like souls.
Okay, can we
I like backbones too. I like a good spine.
Ooh.
Yeah, you like a good spine, Coley?
I mean, they got to be able to arch it.
We're getting way too misogynistic.
I like healthy lungs.
This is an ick. If girls can't run athletically, that is a huge ick for me. Literally is such a turn off.
Now, is it a turn off or is it more of a turn on when you see a girl that's really fast? Because you're like, man, we would have such above average speed children.
Fast twitch muscles are low-key attractive.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, one of my icks was a girl riding a bike really aggressively. Yeah. I stand by that, even though the Miley Cyrus picture came out the next day.
But that was, I remember I called you out on that. That was like that's like an 1800s, like, misogynist.
Yeah,
I hate girls on bikes.
I did look it up, and it is kind of like a way throwback.
Yeah, it's like a
misogyny thing.
Oh man,
bringing it back.
Everybody name one feature of the opposite sex that's weird that you would say that you are. Like, for example, I like a good digestive system in a woman, like a girl that's not puking all the time.
Okay, actually, I have a complaint.
A girl that like, you know, not using all the toilet paper, but healthy BMs.
I have
IBS.
I have a complaint about women. All these women have stomach issues.
This is the exact opposite of what I was going for.
But
here.
like, why? Like all these, like, there's not a single girl I know that doesn't have like terrible stomach issues.
All these women.
That's a great point.
Maybe it's because they're hanging out with you all the time.
I'm gonna go search. I'm gonna go search the word "tummy hurts" in my texts.
Yes,
brother. Just take a look at this. Take a look at that.
Oh my
Bill.
God.
Yeah, bro. Dude, what is up with these chicks' stomachs? We gotta get to the bottom of it.
Oh, it's we're at the bottom of it. It's all these charcuterie boards. It's
no, I think I don't know if the kombucha is
I think Coley's right.
Cause or effect?
It's the salumi, the buffalo cheese, and then I think the Aperol spritzes too.
Oh yeah,
we need to get
females and their Aperol.
But I don't mean this
wreaking havoc on the nation's plumbing systems.
I'm not like saying this like this is a national, like, something's gone wrong and we need to figure out why every single woman has like serious stomach issues.
Women be pregnant.
That's not it.
Mad Dog, can you confirm or deny?
I can confirm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All the hoes puking?
No, it's not.
It's not puking.
It's just complaining.
It's
hoes
like,
shitting.
It's both.
Girls be shitting or not shitting.
Now, is it that women they're pooping more often now, or
no.
is that?
No, I think it's that it's less often.
Yeah,
I think they're not doing it enough.
They're not pooping enough.
What's going on?
Yeah.
But
do you think that's the case, or is it that women are more liberated to openly discuss how infrequently they're shitting?
No, both. It's because they're hurting. It's actual
Billy,
pain.
Stop woman explaining.
Okay, sorry.
I would say that women feel more liberated to talk about their BMs, but also the lack of BMs in women is alarming.
Women aren't pooping enough.
No.
What can we do to fix that?
Metamucil?
A lot of Miralax, Beta Fiber.
No, I'm talking about like I want to fix this on a. I want to treat the entire problem, the issue, not like on a case by case basis.
Girls be drinking cold brew. Put some laxatives in the cold brew.
I feel like cold brew would make you shit more, right?
Yeah, you need some Activia.
Oh, I got it.
I've had my issues. I have my tricks.
Girls need to start smoking again.
Cigarettes?
Yeah, you smoke a cigarette.
Do cigarettes
oh, yeah.
make you poop?
Is that-
Yeah.
Do you think there's an epigenetic problem where all these women were smoking cigarettes
And
now
then they
passed
stopped?
on the gene that like we don't need, like epigenetics? I can't pronounce it. Epigenetics.
You're looking at me like I'm supposed to verify the pronunciation of this
something
term
that's
I've never heard before.
Basically, the concept is that like you can affect your DNA by like
by like habits you form.
by habits you form.
Yeah, that's actually that's a truth. I read that in a real book actually.
yeah, real book.
Yeah.
Real book. Yeah.
Actually, it was a book about for like women and their habits.
So this is
It was called Moody Bitches.
this is an issue.
It's a huge issue.
A lot of women's tummies hurt.
Why?
Ick saying the word tummy.
Tummy. Well, Big T brought it up. Big T's quoting.
Dummy?
Yeah, Big T's.
But
What
Yeah,
about
that's
stomach?
not my phraseology.
What about stomach?
I don't know why.
belly,
Belly not
just
good.
say stomach.
Stomach hurts.
My- Girls, if your tummies are hurting, smoke a cigarette. That's the cure.
no, I don't know.
Get addicted to Camels,
unless you're pregnant.
unless you're pregnant. In which case,
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Or just get super
jury's still out on that one.
or just get super hungover. That'll help.
I think
Yeah.
honestly, I've actually been reading up about this. Alcohol has been destroying. So remember that one time I said that your digestive system is basically on the outside of your body, if you think about it, and then
I don't remember
No.
that, but it sounds exactly
think
like
about
something
it,
you'd say. so
You're
I'm
more
gonna
like
go
a
with it.
donut, and your digestive system is the hole in the middle.
That makes no sense.
In most of your digestive system, like you have more exposure to the outside world through your digestive system than your skin.
Okay,
Because there's miles-
you're putting it in your body, but
Yeah.
it's all stuff that used to be outside.
I can't. I'll find out the exact thing, but like I think we really need to start studying gut bacteria, and like alcohol like destroys gut bacteria. Like think about it. When you have to disinfect a cut, you have to put alcohol on it.
Yeah.
Like to get all the bacteria out. Like I think all the booze we're drinking and like gut bacteria is getting destroyed. Is like
Doesn't your
A
body
huge
make it though?
no, gut bacteria is like what you absorb from foods and what you get from your mother and like all sorts of stuff. And I think that's a huge factor in like mental health, like, hormone levels and stuff. And we need to start looking at that more because so much like 90% of your serotonin, let me look up the exact figure, but it's like the bulk of your serotonin is produced in your gut.
I'm pretty sure your body creates, doesn't it?
Serotonin
Gut flora, yeah.
is
Yeah.
produced in the gut. Gut flora, yeah, but a lot of it is from
You
95%
can jack
of
it
your
up.
serotonin.
Like if you ate a bunch of like sauerkraut, stuff like that, that
Yeah.
can boost your gut flora, but it is naturally occurring.
It's naturally occurring from like your mother though.
We're
What?
all naturally occurring from our mother.
Like your body grew from your mom.
There's just ways you can help your gut flora with different bacteria, and I think alcohol
That's
definitely hurts it.
That's why people drink kombucha.
Yeah.
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 I tried kombucha.
Oh, I love kombucha. Love kombucha.
I got a new grocery store that opened up just like
Oh, dude.
right down the street from me, which by the way, I mean, this is like sign number one that you're completely washed up as an individual. I'm like fucking pumped every day to go to this grocery store. When it opened up, I was like, hell yeah, I can't wait to visit this place. And it's amazing. It's as delivered. And also shout out to people that work there. Apparently they were building, they're like doing the construction on the inside while listening to Part of My Take and Macrodosing.
Oh, sick.
While doing
Shout
it.
out.
So shout out to those guys. We kind of built that grocery store.
Yeah.
They've got a selection of kombucha like you would not believe.
I love kombucha.
And-
Or a probiotic soda.
And they all suck. I hate kombucha. I'm here to tell you,
kombucha.
not worth the time. I don't know what the process is of making kombucha, but people that get
You
really
ferment it.
yeah, people that get really into producing it act
That's a
like
whole
it's their
thing.
craft beer.
It
Well,
is.
because it kind of is, because it's
There's
technically
alcohol in it.
alcoholic.
Yeah.
You can get kombucha. You can get kombucha that you have to get carded for. I have actually had hard kombucha, like 5% alcohol kombucha.
Can you get a DUI off kombucha?
Oh hell yeah.
No, I don't think it's one of those things where it's like you could never drink enough kombucha to like really get you drunk. It has like 0.25 ABV.
Dude,
like you don't have to get carded for it.
You just said you had one that was 5%.
Well, that was a hard kombucha.
Yeah.
That was like a
what I'm
alcoholic
talking
kombucha.
about.
So
That
these,
must make you shit big time.
It's awesome.
dude, girls have like defeated the cheat code of hair of the dog because they're all just drinking kombucha the next morning, which like is just enough alcohol. That's like I've heard this.
Women are always buzzed.
Yeah, they're just getting.
I haven't been
That's
sober
why.
in
That's why they
months.
talk so much.
Yeah, women be talking. Women don't be shitting.
That's why they talk so much and can't drive well.
Dude,
It's a joke.
the nastiest
joke.
The nastiest thing about kombucha is the
Love
fucking mother. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Oh, the thing that grows on
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Dude, they're all like, "Oh my god, I got the mother." And it's like, what is that? It's like some nasty like gelatin thing that they've just like. It's like the golden ticket that they find.
it's like the fermentation object.
Ugh.
I love kombucha. I'll get you guys some good kombucha,
Ah.
or I'll bring in some June Shine, some hard kombucha.
What did you call it?
The brand name is June Shine,
Okay, that's a good name.
and it has like cool packaging.
Is it now? Are there kombuchas that are made from mushrooms?
I don't think so.
Did I just invent something?
Psychedelic kombucha.
Like psychedelic
like
kombucha?
psychedelic, also alcoholic kombucha called
Yeah.
Shroom Shine.
Shroom Shine?
Shroom Shine.
Did we just stumble upon $1 million idea?
Shroom shine. Just like light psilocybin,
Yeah.
a little bit of alcohol.
Yeah, just like a tiny bit.
Would it be more psychedelic or more alcoholic?
More psychedelic.
Let's throw some CBD in there just to fuck around.
Yeah.
Theanine too, just to make sure that the trip's good.
And protein.
Relax you.
For
Protein
gains?
might be too far.
Oh, yeah. Billy would say that, soy boy. Billy, I didn't want to say anything, but your arms are looking small today.
Damn, bro.
You got small arms, soft hands.
June 1st, we won't see a shirt with
And
sleeves
loop.
from Billy until September.
Yeah, your biceps look it's just like an extension of your soft palms now. No, go all the way up
Dude,
your
my
arms.
palms aren't even fucking soft. That was such a bullshit thing.
I bet I have more calloused hands.
Shut up. Literally, my hands are so calloused.
June 1st.
This is all fake news.
Can we talk about something? I forget where I heard this.
Pride Month.
It is. I heard someone say recently that June is not summer, and
Correct.
I got what the.
Well,
I
no,
got
no, no.
so mad, and now I'm so mad again that apparently
Hold on.
What do you think it is?
I think it's summer. No. I think it's summer. Biologically, summer doesn't start. The summer solstice isn't until June 21st.
Yeah, but nobody
astrologically.
goes
Yeah.
by that.
No.
Good point, Billy.
Astrology.
Astrologically-
Billy got offended by your incorrect usage of biologically.
Okay, sorry,
Yeah.
astrologically. It's technically the summer solstice is June 21st, so it's not summer. I considered it summer Memorial Day.
Yeah, but nobody goes by that. I heard someone say summer was July, August, and September,
That's just wrong.
and I flipped out.
Yeah, that's insane.
September's for sure more summer than June. Not even a debate.
No.
September?
June is 10 times more summer than September is.
It's a vibe
September?
thing.
They're playing
Growing up,
football.
it was. September is way hotter than June. This isn't even
No, but
close.
September,
wait,
it's
you're,
not about
you're going
heat.
back to school in
Wait,
September.
wait, guys.
That's what it's really about.
most kids are still in school through June 20th.
Yeah, they're
especially
they're
public.
technically in
No.
school, but they're
Okay,
halfway out
so,
the door.
guys, there's two different
Where did
types
y'all
of-
go to school?
There's two different types of seasons, and I have the answers. There are astrological seasons, astronomical seasons, and meteorological seasons. So you're talking big T. You're talking about meteorological seasons.
Which, define that for me. I'm just talking about
according
seasons, brother.
to
In my
the-
mind, there's one kind
Yeah.
of seasons.
The seasons begin on the first day of the months that include the equinoxes and solstices, whereas astronomical seasons have them beginning on the equinoxes. So you're both right. Everyone's right.
No, we're not.
Coley just said September is
September's not
summer.
September
Without
is
question.
astronomically summer.
Brother, so you're telling me when we're in week 4 and Tennessee's playing Florida, that's summer?
So the,
Like you're going, I understand more if you want to make the case that the seasons align with the sports calendar.
That's not an exclusive thing for me, but I do think it matters.
astronomically
I understand
it
that line of
does.
thinking. And when I was a kid, I would be more inclined to agree with you that June.
Oh, we lost Coley. Big Seasons doesn't want to hear what's going on.
Yeah.
You're trying to silence her, man. Sorry, Coley, you dropped out for a second.
Yeah, I feel like that was your guys' fault, like the internet. There.
Yeah, probably. It was probably Pete. So I don't go by any of these definitions. My definitions are just loosely based around clothes. So the first time you put flannel on, the first time any of your immediate friend group wears flannel, at that point, it's autumn. And autumn comes before fall.
See, maybe, but Virginia is a very, similar climate to like Tennessee. You can't put on flannel in Tennessee till mid-October.
No, you get a couple days. You get a couple days, couple nights. I'm including nighttime, by the way.
Still, I mean,
if it's nighttime, then I've never experienced summer in Maine.
True. Yeah, I agree. Maine doesn't have a summer.
It's winter constantly.
Yep. Maine does not have a summer.
I want to go back to this though. When did y'all get out of school and go back to school?
So I used to get out of school, I want to say the first or second week of June. And then I would go back the week after Memorial Day. Or excuse me, Labor Day.
Labor Day.
Because Virginia they actually had a law that was written into place called the King's Dominion Act. And King's Dominion is the name of a great theme park that's down in like central Virginia. And so they lobbied to make sure that schools would not be back in session until after Labor Day so that families would travel to their theme park over the course of Labor Day weekend. And so it was like against the law for schools to start prior to Labor Day. So it was always like second week of June, the Tuesday after Labor Day. Boom. There you go.
See,
Boston, we have snow days, obviously, which I assume you did not have growing up, Big T. So I went to Catholic school, so we always got out like 2 weeks earlier than public school. But public school in Boston, especially if it was a snowy winter, kids were going to school through like late June.
Oh,
One year we had so much snow that they made us go to school. Like we would have been going through July if they just added days. So they just added 3 minutes per day, which was supposed to make up for that much lost time. Teachers aren't like, that was like 30 seconds per class. That didn't do anything.
Yeah. In New York now, they're not getting out of school until the very last week of June.
that's outrageous.
It is outrageous. And you know why though? Because they get so many more days off during the year than we used to get back when we were in school. So I don't know if it's a regional thing or if it's something that's just like evolved with the times, but they get holidays off for like Ramadan. It's not like when I was growing up, it was just basically the Christian holidays. You would have some days off school, but you get days off for Ramadan. You get a midwinter recess as well, which is like another spring break. You get that here. You also have, there's just more holidays.
Christmas break?
No, I'm not talking about Christmas break. I'm saying like they get a Christmas break, which is like the standard week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever it is. Then they also get a spring break, and they also, in between those two, they get a midwinter recess.
Oh, in like February?
Yeah, in like February.
So
President's Day. Yeah.
y'all are gonna hate this. I guess I'm the only person here that's from like the South, but we got out in May and then went back August 1st. So
Yeah,
to
bro,
me,
my cousins in Florida, that's what my cousins in Florida did.
That's
That seems-
disgusting.
so to me, August is even the fall because that's when I was always back in school.
That's disgusting.
August is our hottest month.
I know, but it's not about heat to me. It's about the way things are going. So I was always in school. So August is the fall.
August is for sure not fall.
Can you imagine being back in school in the summertime and there's not even football on? Like that's what makes September bearable.
Well, I think
Going back to school and at least on the weekends you got football.
We start high school football earlier.
Yeah, and that's why you get stories every year of kids dropping dead in the sun.
That's probably you probably found something there.
Yeah, Arian, when would you used to go back to school when you were a kid?
Oh man, let's see. I think growing up in Albuquerque, we was like right before my birthday. So my birthday was August 24th. So like a week before my birthday.
And you would do like training camp and all that shit like in August?
Wait, Little League? Yeah, training camp, Little League.
No, like for
He was in San Diego by the time he was in high school.
Oh, San
Oh,
Diego.
okay.
Shit. I would say around the same time. Yeah, it was around the same time, like mid to late August, and we would do training camp in August. Yeah,
Like 2-a-days and shit in the
Yeah,
summertime.
2 days were mid-August up here for sure.
yeah,
Mhm.
something like that.
Yeah.
It's been a minute, bro.
I always remember going back like the week before Labor Day, which was nice because it eased you back in with that Labor Day break. That
Did you guys used to also have half days on Mondays?
yeah.
I had that in
Like the
elementary
first
school.
Monday?
No, it was just, I think it was every Monday.
No, not every Monday.
What?
It wasn't?
I don't know what that is.
No,
What's
but like
that?
we'd have like a half day for the first day, just like to slowly get us back into school.
I think
Yeah.
we always start on like a Wednesday, so you
Yeah.
went like 3 days.
No, but I'm talking about like over the course of the year. I feel like some Mondays were half days for me.
That's
When I was growing
crazy.
up.
We had like special days that would be like early dismissal, and that would be a half day.
Yeah, but I feel like it was like
Was
a
yours a
constant
routine thing?
Yeah.
Did you have like 6 people in your class?
No. I went to a standard elementary school, standard public school that
Sure
had
wasn't Quaker.
I was a jabber. Probably.
How many doors did you have?
doors, multiple doors.
Troublesome.
Not as many as exactly. Especially if there were like multiple leading to the outside.
What were your walls?
We got
like?
to get to a point where every
Padded?
school has only one door, and then
That's-
and then you have to line up single file, and it takes everyone 2 hours to leave.
That fire
There were-
drill would be hell.
Yeah,
There were New York public schools that were like, our schools span multiple blocks. Like, what's one door going to do for us? Like, we have 10 buildings for our school. How is this going to work here?
yeah. There's reports coming out now, by the way, that the chief of police in Uvalde is like no longer cooperating with the investigation going into
And
it.
got a promotion.
He did.
He's on the city council now.
Right on par, baby.
I feel like it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. I feel like
they're
they're
hiding
going to
something
uncover
huge.
some shit that you are going to be very upset about.
I don't get it. They tell us to cooperate. Why can't they cooperate?
Well, what happened was the director,
Accountability? What are you talking about? Sounds
Crazy.
the
Crazy.
director of public safety went on the mic last Friday and was like, "This was the wrong decision, like point blank, period." In hindsight, he should not have made that choice to stand in the hallway. And then over the course of the weekend, the Uvalde Police Department is like, "Well, you just threw us under the bus, so you're not coming to my birthday party anymore. We're not going to talk to you." So, just saying something that's objectively true is now grounds for being like, okay, you're against us now. You're my enemy. But that's where we are. I have a feeling that like the feds are going to investigate and find some pretty fucked up stuff. So that'll be a fun discourse to have and
Like
and to
they
learn
thought
about.
all the kids were dead in the room.
I don't know. I don't want to speculate what they're going to get into, but I feel like it's not going to be good.
He's ready to fire them TikTok conspiracies off the hip.
The kids
Dude,
would
I've
never.
been seeing. I'm
School doesn't
sorry, but I've been
exist.
just seeing. No. I've been seeing the craziest shit because like I spend like my job is to spend time on TikTok, and I just end up
Maybe.
seeing some of the craziest. Like
Is that what you told him, PFT? Is that what you've directed him to do?
Yeah, no, I told Billy I need you to fry your brain by watching
Well, I have to-
stupid ass TikToks.
I have
all
to
the
pick
time.
up trends for the part of my take TikTok, and I just end up spending so much time on TikTok trying to find trends that sometimes all these things pop up, and like I don't want to repeat some of them because I know they're objectively false and it would spread a false narrative, but like they're wild.
Well, yeah, let's predict where we think that this is going to go because Alex Jones isn't going to play the hits back because he just got, sued and lost millions and millions of dollars. So he's not gonna go back to the old crisis actors. Well, I think that we've moved on. Crisis actors had a big 8 years in this country where everything was fucking crisis actors.
Yeah.
But they're about to move on to something else. So I wonder what Alex is going to say. My prediction is because Alex is getting. We even covered this on the Alex Jones episode of Macrodosing. But his conspiracy theories have gotten more and more mainstream. So he's watering himself down these days. He used to be real fucking crazy, just insane, extraterrestrial type shit almost.
I bet you some of his fan base is establishment got to you, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh for sure. There's definitely been somebody that stood up and took Alex's place as being the pits of volcanoes are inhabited by half reptilian, half Jewish space time travelers, and they came back and they sent Hillary Clinton to kill everyone. That's the stuff that his real hardcore old school followers remember. That he's
I would be actually would actually be a fun episode to dive into Hillary Clinton like on a very deep level.
Oh yeah,
Well,
because
that's-
there's enough true stuff about her that's
Yeah,
pretty
exactly.
fucked up.
I mean, that's what some of them were about, like on the TikTok. I'm not gonna repeat them.
Just doing an
I'm gonna repeat one. There was a buffalo one that fucking had me rolling, man. Okay, so there was a buffalo, which is sad. You know what I'm saying? People die, but so there was a dude.
I saw this
who
one.
died, the security dude. I didn't even said anything. How do you know you saw?
I
it,
know,
man?
I know exactly which one you're about to say.
Damn,
I would just get water.
Yeah. So there's a dude who was and you know what's funny is my man's believes this shit. Like my man's believes this shit. And so there was a guy who was a security, I think he was a retired cop, the security guard dude. He was working on an invention that was a water-powered vehicle, and the government took him out because he was working on. Now, to the credit, right? So this is all conspiracy theories have like a pinch of truth to it. So he actually was working on a vehicle that was water-powered, but it was also hydrogen-powered. He has a video of him like working out the kinks and going over it and stuff like that. But like, you know, 3 minutes of research until you realize like there's so many different ways for the government to take you out rather than a mass shooting. Also, there's mad hydrogen cars already. And there's literally like, I think there's like over 40 hydrogen stations to charge your hydrogen cars. So it's like, I don't know, man. Those people are.
Isn't that the plot of the movie Chain Reaction with Keanu Reeves, where he discovers a way to turn water into electricity? I'm pretty sure that's the plot
I
of
haven't seen
Morgan Freeman, Keanu Reeves, 1996 film Chain Reaction. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Sounds amazing.
Chain Reaction
Why
is a
you looking that up?
1996 American science fiction action thriller film directed by Andrew Davis, starring Keanu Reeves, Morgan Freeman, Rachel Weisz, Fred Ward, Kevin Dunn, and Brian Cox. The plot centers on the invention of a new non-contaminating power source based on hydrogen and the attempts by the United States government to prevent the spreading of this technology to other countries.
That's exactly what.
Yeah, I think in the preview, I remember. So there are two things I remember about this from the previews. First one, he takes like a glass of water and he just lights it on fire. He's like, see, I turned it into energy. Could be fracking, but could be his like proprietary science thing. And then secondly, I remember he outruns a nuclear explosion on a motorcycle in it. So like a giant building blows up and he's on a motorcycle just driving away from the blast. It was fucking sick. But yeah, no, I think you're right. Like that's the exact type of conspiracy that people are going to pick up on and run with. There's also the other, and by the way, before I forget, Mad Dog, can you take a note of this? We should do an entire episode on the Clintons. I would like Big T to lead that discussion.
Well, he was going to, whether or not.
I don't know that you do want that.
Big T, I'll
We
take
want
that
the
ride.
truth.
We want that. We want that. We got no fan
Listen,
of the
y'all
Clintons.
don't twist my arm.
Because people, it's weird, like because Hillary Clinton was running against Donald Trump in 2016, a lot of libs felt the need to like make Hillary Clinton their queen and to be like, she can do no wrong. This girl is girl boss energy.
I'm with
You know,
her.
like I'm with her.
Objectively, maybe the worst slogan in the history of American politics.
They made Hillary Clinton into like a hero.
Oh yeah, the baby's Jesus and guns one is pretty bad.
Sure, but that for presidential.
Okay,
I feel like there are some turn of the century ones that are probably pretty terrible.
I know this is a hot take amongst conservatives, but "Make America Great Again" is pretty fucking stupid. And it was Jack from Reagan.
But whatever you think of Trump, I'm not like it had a message though. Like
Yeah,
that was the stupid part. That's what I'm saying. So
yeah, but people knew like what that was. Like I'm with her
didn't making my point.
didn't mean anything.
The hats, the hats were trash just in terms of the design.
There's the arrow. Is the arrow? Wasn't it the arrow?
Well, both I think both the Hillary moving
yeah.
forward and they like explained, well, the arrow is pointing to the right because that's the indication of progress forward. It's like, yeah, we understand. You read left to right. Thank you. But that logo is bad. Also, the logo for Make America Great Again, those hats are bad. They're just bad, poorly designed hats.
No, the hats.
That's fair.
No, the hats.
They're bad, and all the parody hats are worse.
Yeah,
but
agreed.
The whole point of the hats were to be non-mainstream like hats because they were like there was a whole study I like read about this article like they were supposed to be more like trucker hats and like not your typical baseball hat or something because it's less like modern, less like.
It was the cheapest hat he could buy at cost. That's
Yes.
what it was.
No, it was just a hat with regular words on it. I don't think we need to read too far
The
into
cheapest font, the cheapest hat.
Yeah, we don't.
But it's
We don't
not-
need to
but it
read
wasn't
into
based-
the design.
No,
of-
there's someone wrote a whole article about it. Like
Probably
it was
after
a
the
liberal.
fact.
It was a liberal.
Possibly.
A liberal wrote an article about it that since the hat was not like synonymous with like sports or like urban wear, that's why it did so well.
Right. So it's an after the fact reading
Yeah.
of like here's how it caught on, and it just caught on because Trump got a lot of fans, and
this
it
was-
became a hat that was like
this was from the
a
same
fuck
people.
you to the establishment.
This was from the same people who wrote that stuff about the fork at my dining hall.
Okay, but Billy, I'm not denying reading it after the fact and saying like, okay, post mortem, here's how it caught on. I'm just talking about from a design standpoint. That was not at all what they were like. What they were trying to do going into it. They were just like, let's make a hat that has words on it, and then they said, okay.
They were in the war room saying, how do we upset the establishment with
What's the
this
psychological?
certain material? Nah, bro, it was just fucking hat, and it was trash too.
Yeah, it was just okay. The one design, actually, two things that we need in this hat. One, it's got to be red. Two, if we could center the words in it, and that's all they said. Then they said, okay, you take those instructions and you do what you have to. But back to Hillary, because people were like so on the left, they were so anti-Trump that they turned Hillary into like this goddess that walks among us, and like she's done some objectively shitty things, and it's become like tough to critique Hillary without people being like, "Oh, you're MAGA," you know. So I watched
her. She has a documentary on Hulu, and it was like it was a good like what, a couple years after the election that came out.
Yeah.
And man, it made her look really good. Like I was like, am I fucking up or is this propaganda? Like, oh, I think I'm fucking up. it was really bad. And she was like crying. Like this was her moment, and she squandered it. She fucked it up. She did. That's hilarious.
Well, she's had like 5 moments. First was 2008, and then she got blown out of the water. Then she almost loses to Bernie Sanders. And then like they kind of rig that for her to make sure she's the nominee. And then she loses to the second most unelectable candidate in the history of American politics, second only to herself.
I remember in 2007, my father said, if they don't elect Hillary now, she'll never win. And if the Democrats truly want to hold power, they'll elect Hillary now and have Obama run in 2016. And he was right. I see no way like that Obama would have dominated Trump head to head.
Yeah.
Dominated him.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyone else would have.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well,
no, Biden would not have.
No, but like that's what's crazy is Biden could be. You can make the argument that Joe Biden is the third most unelectable president in the history of the United States, behind.
That just
Well,
speaks
he
to
won
how
other-
people didn't want Trump. Like,
Yeah.
that's how bad.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
Biden was so bad, but they're like, yo, but anybody with Trump. That's a lot of people that I know voted for Biden was like that. Like, I'll take it.
Did you see Bo Burnham's like song that he released the other day?
No.
It was like, how is the best option Joe Biden was like the main thing of the song. And he originally wrote that to be in his special that came out a couple years ago, but he put all this stuff out that he didn't make it.
Yeah.
And people were saying this song would have memed Trump into a second term.
That's
Like,
probably why he cut it.
yeah, it's possible.
I actually think there's a window out there if anybody wants to become like the biggest cheerleader for Joe Biden, like the biggest Joe Biden stan. There's really no one out there. I guess like those shitty like Occupy Democrats accounts that just only they end every single tweet with retweet if you agree. You know, like those shitty ones. I think there hasn't really been somebody that's like, I'm a Joe Biden stan and this dude fucking rocks.
It's not profitable.
All the mainstream media.
Yeah, true. True. Who in the mainstream media is like sucking off Joe Biden?
It's a joke, guys. Calm down, everybody.
I might do it. I might become like, fuck yeah,
Don't
Joe
do it.
Biden.
Don't do it. Don't.
Joe Biden goals.
The-
Look, he just sucked on his wife's finger. Couple goals. Remember that when he bit Dr. Joe Biden's hand?
Or sniffing children.
Sniffing children. Hey, listen,
Weird, so weirdo, dog.
Dude,
the man just loves
He's
how
dead.
kids smell.
He's a dead person who they have standing up somehow. He's
Probably a
not
vampire.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah, like there's nothing going on.
So-
Up there. He's thinking about ice cream and nothing else.
So their giant plan was to just like stand in Joe, just like get the other guy out of the White House. We'll have Joe hang out and hopefully not die for 4 years, and then Kamala. Is that the plan?
They don't know that she ain't.
I
do
hope
that.
that's the plan.
If the Democrats' plan is run president woman cop, like they've got to have better plans than that. They just have to have.
But this the
better
Democrats,
plan.
so they don't. It's probably
Obama
the
wasn't like
plan.
this is the thing. Obama wasn't the plan. He just what was it the speech in was it Chicago or Boston in like 06 where
It was the 04 convention, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
DNC.
there was a couple of them.
Right.
There's local elections too. But like even that, so like the one thing I will say about Obama is like I'm not a super fan of him, but the one thing like he was extremely knowledgeable on policy. Like he will sit there and talk to you about policy, and he was just so eloquent. He was an eloquent speaker, and he was charismatic. Like those things are like a recipe for an electable human. But like the pitch hitters for the Democrats these days are just it's bad, dog.
I've got a prediction. I think it's gonna be Mayor Pete. I think that's who they're gonna try to.
Can't run him again either.
I can't.
I'm just saying. I think that's who it's gonna be.
He was just running an apology the other day for fucking up something. I can't remember what
Oh
it was.
yeah, I saw
Wine
that.
cellar was the wine cellar thing?
Yeah, Mayor Pete's wine cellar.
No, it was a wine cave. It was like a wine cellar would be fine. Like those are affordable. You can buy them at Walmart. A wine cave is way too far.
No, it was something that had to do with his job.
He was giving a speech in a wine cave. It wasn't his wine cave.
Oh.
It was like a donor speech, but still wine cave.
It can't be him.
Florio has a wine cave as well, so cross him off the list.
They
They got no one.
It's going to be. I think it's going to be Mayor Pete.
Oh.
And then my favorite. I do think it's fucking
In
funny.
24?
Yeah, I think it's fucking funny how the conspiracy that started to bubble up last time about Mayor Pete was that he's not even gay. He's just saying that he is for the clout, and so that more Democrats will vote for him.
Yeah,
It's such a funny
Oh, gay
conspiracy.
guy. That is coming.
Like it's 100% false, but it's also very funny that there are people that believe that.
That would
So
be
if he
hilarious.
runs, then the GOP will rerun the "I'm with her" stickers. Then
Yes,
You'll see that it's like a big O.
for sure. And then who will the GOP? Who are they? Who's going to be the
Florida,
next Republican?
DeSantis.
It's just,
DeSantis.
Oh yeah, easily.
If-
They've been prepping him for a good little bit. And you know
I don't
what's
think
funny?
that's going to happen.
I do. You know what's even funnier is that Ted Cruz is fucking going to be so sad, and that makes me happy. 'Cause he's been trying to swing at this for a little minute now, and then DeSantis he's going to pass it.
Y'all think
Ted
that-
Cruz is the Hillary Clinton of the Republican Party.
That's
Yeah.
fair. Y'all think DeSantis is going to run against Trump and beat him?
No, so
No.
I agree.
You were
I
the
agree
one
with
who
Big
said
T on this.
DeSantis was the ticket.
No, I want DeSantis. I think he'd blow Mayor Pete out of the water.
I agree.
But I
Phrasing.
don't think that's pause. I don't think
Come on.
like
Can't pause on
PFT.
June 1st.
June 1st.
if Trump runs, I don't think he's going to run against him.
Yeah, so
Nobody's gonna run against Trump. If
I-
Trump runs, nobody's gonna run
Oh no. I got the
against him.
big,
I'll take that.
I got the biggest glass breaking moment. Trump doesn't run for president, but whoever wins the Republican primary makes him VP.
He would never do that.
Yeah.
He would never accept
Trump.
that.
Trump is the biggest.
What about Trump's
Head.
ideology thinks he's ever going to
No,
accept?
but that
Vice
would be the
anything.
biggest. That would be the biggest Trojan horse glass shattering moment where it's like, I'm back, motherfucker.
I don't know if it-
literally,
But he wouldn't do it.
He Dick
but literally
Cheney
the
that
GOP's
shit.
base is Trump. Like Trump is the GOP. Like if you say bad against Trump, like
I don't
you
think
lose your
that's
constituency.
true.
Right, but who wins? But like for example,
It was.
someone's gonna win.
It
if
was.
Trump
I
doesn't
think
run.
I think it will change very quickly.
Who's
How so?
But who's going to win the primary? Someone has to win the primary, even if Trump doesn't run. So then someone
They
wins
didn't
the
run.
primary, and then here comes the national election. Trump just slides
just
in
make
as
Trump
VP.
make Trump the king, like how England has. Just like have him do all the ceremonial shit, like welcoming the kids to the White House in the big cool trucks, Have him do like play golf with everybody that's in this country on vacation, like all the big celebrities that come and then like just set up a camera around him and then put him on a reality show, and then you kind of you have your cake and you eat it too.
I know he's pissed a lot of people off, and he's this, that, and the other. I think, can we all in this room agree, as king with no power, like give him no power. It's purely a ceremonial position where he does all the things you described. I mean, there's no one better.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
There's so many people better.
There's
Who?
like millions of people.
No,
Obama would be
ceremonial.
better at that. Obama would be way better.
I think
at that.
Obama
Big
would
T's
not-
describing the entertainment factor. Though.
Yeah.
Obama's super entertaining. I mean, really,
But like, it'd be so funny.
We have like a list of entertainers in this country.
Jamie
Again,
Foxx,
again,
Jamie
y'all-
Foxx.
Trump is on
Y'all are
those
thinking
lists.
of cool people who like do cool shit. I'm talking about
what
like
you're describing.
the
would be
queen
like-
is not cool.
No, she isn't. But I mean, Mad Dog would disagree.
Neither is Trump. What is
What,
you talking
like-
Right.
I think
Correct.
my biggest- like if you're saying he's going to be like speaking and stuff like that, and he's going to represent us, like he's for sure going to get us into more wars. If even if he has no actual power, that's what would happen if we nominated him king.
I'm just envisioning the picture of him in his tuxedo standing next to the queen and doing events like that all the time, and I think it'd be hilarious.
Like, come on, throwing the paper towels.
Well, no, so that wasn't that funny. Like, it kind of is because of how ridiculous it was, but he was there to provide like relief to people that were literally dying.
and didn't have electricity for months.
Yeah. So like I understand how that's how it's like entertaining, and that's the aspect that I get.
Okay. We're done with our fun.
I'm just saying, like I agree with Big T in the fact that having him just do a reality show of him being president where he has no actual power it would be must see TV. I think the entire country could watch it.
Does he think he's president now? Is the question.
I don't know if he knew he was president then.
According to some, he still is
Say,
president.
Mike the pillow guy does. I'll tell you that. That
Yeah.
motherfucker would go to
No
the
question.
grave for Trump. That shit is hilarious.
We should all be lucky enough to have a friend during this lifetime as supportive as Mike the Pillow Guy has been to Donald Trump.
I agree with that.
That's a ride or die dude. Right
Bad
there.
pillows, by the way.
Really?
Really?
Slept on one. I was at my uncle's lake house for Christmas, and he had some. Not good pillows.
Do you think
Too soft.
The political activism has that detracted from the quality of pillow? You think?
I don't know, but I'm a firm pillow guy, and they were too soft.
Yeah, that's sad.
You know, I'm currently a free agent between firm and soft pillows. Like sometimes firm works for me and sometimes soft works for me. And it's I need some more options because right now I'm struggling.
You're describing the
looked at the-
two-party system right now.
So
Have you looked at the cube? Have you looked at the pillow cube?
I have the cube. So I that does not work for me.
I need the.
But I
phone.
also got the biggest. You know, there's 3 sizes you can order. I got the tallest one, and so that one was kind of hurting my neck a little bit. So maybe I go with the smaller joint on that one. But if you look at my bed right now, I have like 6 different pillows. Like they're just different.
No free ads, so I'm not going to say it on the show, but I just texted you a brand that you need to look into. Good pillows over there.
So
All right.
I
love the name too.
I like to go firm pillow for the body pillow, like to lift the legs for the back or between the knees. Soft pillow for the head.
Interesting. I also I've got 3 different kinds of pillow that I use. I've got the soft, I've got the firm, and then I've got the wild card one, which is in like the pillowcase that has the lines on it, like the decorative pillow. Although it's a real pillow in a decorative
You
case.
sleep on that?
I don't,
I thought you're supposed to put those
but
aside.
I slept on it one night and I woke up in the morning. I was like, this is the best pillow that I have.
Yeah.
Now I had lines all over my face because it was a decorative one. I still haven't, because I'm a lazy fuck, I haven't taken the time to take that pillow out of the decorative case and put it into the standard sleeping case, which is what I need to do because that's the pillow that I need. It's the best one.
You see, I have starters and I have bench players in my pillow game.
What do you have a pillow that you put in when you need a spark?
Right. So I have pillows like when I take my pillows to the laundromat, like whatever. So like I use the proper covers to who are the starters and who are the bench players. And the bench players, they don't get play. They're usually under my knees while I sleep on my back to like make sure my back doesn't hurt when I wake up. And then
Do you have a liberator? Do you have one of the liberator pads that you sleep with your legs up on?
What's that?
Look it up.
I don't know what that is. I do that because my back hurts if I don't do that.
So you put how many pillows do you put under your legs?
One?
And then you also put one between your legs?
No, that's if I'm sleeping on my side.
Hang on,
Okay,
Billy.
got
You don't want one of those. You don't want one of the
No?
things PFT said.
The Liberator?
Yeah, you don't want that.
It's great.
I have kind of a psycho move with my pillows.
Oh, what the fuck?
At my
That's so niche. You would have had to
Well,
use one of those.
No,
ones.
at my
I don't
last
think it was that niche.
it's not niche. If you grew up in the era where you had to use porn magazines occasionally, the Liberator ads were everywhere in there. So this was like pre-internet porn.
I got to clear my browser history real quick.
Yeah, watch out for that one. Also, my memory was refreshed about the Liberator a couple years ago in my apartment complex down in the courtyard where people put their cardboard boxes for the stuff that they were throwing away. There was a giant fucking Liberator cardboard box that someone in my apartment complex had ordered a Liberator that they like didn't break down properly. So they just put the box out in the courtyard and then it just stayed there because it wasn't broken down
so
for like a
excited
month.
to use it.
And so every time I would take Leroy outside, we'd have to walk by this giant empty Liberator box.
Imagine you just found a Liberator on the corner with like some old furniture, like when people are moving. You're just like, oh, let me just take this home with me.
I'm sure that you can find some. People have definitely stumbled upon one in like a thrift store before.
Fun
Like, oh,
fact
look
for
at this.
you, fun fact for you non-athletes. Those are great for elevation when you're icing at lower extremities.
Mm,
Where?
Who are the
Yeah.
non-athletes you're talking to?
Billy.
Because
Billy didn't know.
Every single one of y'all.
No. I was talking.
Billy should know that.
I know. I do know that. Like, what's it? Raise.
Rice.
Yeah.
Rest.
Thanks. Mad Dog is an athlete.
Mhm.
Whatever. No.
Rest, ice, compress, elevate.
That's right,
No.
Mad Dog.
There you
One
go.
thing-
Okay.
Mhm.
But
I was an athlete.
But
Okay.
what was I talking about? There's these cool things called Navy SEAL naps where you literally put your legs.
I want to try
Yeah, you wanna
them.
Try that. They're like 8-minute naps. You put your legs basically like you lay on the floor, put your legs on a couch, and your like legs are straight up. Like, how do I explain this? Your legs are over the side of the couch. Your butt is up to the edge of the couch.
Yeah.
And it totally raises your legs, and like you sleep like that for 8 minutes. You don't actually have to go to sleep, but it's supposed to rejuvenate you by like draining all your blood. But then I was thinking, what would happen if you slept like that for a whole night? How energized would you be?
You'd have too much blood. I imagine that your legs would go to sleep. Right?
Yeah, I think the 8 minutes is so that you don't go numb.
Is it just to get your blood rushing around?
Yeah, Billy, why don't you give it a shot?
Okay.
All right, Billy's gonna take the next minutes off the show.
Yeah,
So
do you want me
we'll-
to give you an 8-minute timer?
Yeah, please do, Mad Dog. We'll dive into the data later, and we'll see how these 8 minutes do in terms of listener engagement, and we'll see if the show is more popular when Billy's not on it.
Oh, it's so annoying.
Just go up against the couch.
Here,
next to Big T.
I'll switch with you.
Yeah, Big T
Sweet.
calling in the righty.
And yeah, perfect.
All right. So, Arian, you're a free agent when it comes to pillows.
Yeah.
You also experience free agency in the NFL. Free agency
Nice segue, man.
is a major tenet of labor battles over the years. How about that?
Do it to him.
How about that?
Petey, I see you.
So Billy's gonna go lay down and put his legs up on the couch.
That's hilarious. This is low-key a Billy timeout, by the way.
Billy, are you gonna participate in the show while you're down there? So here's what's gonna happen. Yeah, Billy's got the microphone. Billy, you can.
I can.
Yeah, you can participate in the show. You might be just really fucking good at podcasting when you're in this
Imagine if
position.
I just unlock a different level.
Okay,
You sound better.
I'm starting the timer now.
You sound
Imagine
better.
if you guys had guests come in, you're like, all right, listen, I know how other podcasts do it. We lay on the ground here, so get on the fucking floor.
Getting a bed in the podcast studio would actually be awesome for interviews. People would just completely relax.
This is actually so chill.
So Billy, you wanted to talk about the history of labor battles, right?
So I was looking at some statistics about stuff was popping up in my feed on Reddit, and I don't have the notes in front of me, but some of these labor battles and skirmishes, basically where you have corporations or Pinkertons enlisting like agents to suppress their own workers from unionizing and fighting back in these sort of riots. The casualties in some of these are like comparable to like some of the skirmishes we're seeing in like Ukraine right now, or in a bunch of like smaller battles like throughout the world. So like it's crazy to think that there was that level of insurgency in our own country that's comparable to stuff today, just not even in a wartime, just just for people to operate in society.
So what would happen would be back in like the 1800s and 1900s, there would be these giant industries, whether it was a factory or if it was a coal mine or some giant corporation like that, that would essentially start up their own town, and they were called company towns. And it was, let's just say, coal mining for the sake of it. There would be a company that had exclusive rights to mine coal in a certain mountain in, let's just say, Kentucky somewhere. And what they would do would be, since they were the only game in town and they were paying people, everybody would flock there for their jobs. The company would also own real estate around the area, which they would then set up their own stores in. So they would have their own convenience store, their own butcher, all that stuff, their own drugstore, things like that. And then all the housing that would be available for people that would work there and their families, that would be also run by the same company, since they owned all that real estate. So they would set up their own apartments or their own townhomes, things like that. And so they controlled everything in this town, including the police forces. There were actually security forces that were bought and paid for. Like literally, they were just a functioning arm of law enforcement that belonged to the person that owned this particular part of the mountain, or at least the mining rights on this one particular part of the mountain. So they controlled everything. So not only did these companies control how much they were paying the workers, they also controlled how much the workers had to pay them back in terms of their rent, in terms of their food costs, in terms of everything. So they were just putting everybody on like a fixed income, but they were also taxing them over the course of their employment by selling them all the stuff that they needed to survive as a family. And so when the workers would figure out what's going on in these types of situations, they would try to band together and unionize and try to get more money, and threaten to withhold their labor so that the bosses couldn't make money, and hit them in their pocketbooks. And then since the bosses owned the security forces, they would send the security forces to break up the strikes. So the people that were actually like walking around outside, the picket lines that were preventing other people from taking jobs, preventing like people from becoming scabs, they would send their security forces out to like beat the fuck out of them and sometimes kill them, because things would get violent. Like if somebody was crossing the picket line as a scab to try to work, when everybody else in the company was going on strike, there would be violence too. They would like keep them out physically. They'd be like, no, you're not going into this mine. You can't work because we're all going broke. And the only way that we can defeat them is if we all withhold together. So there would be violence that would break out on that end. And then there would be violence that would come in over the top from the employees of the company that would just like fucking start shooting and just beating people to death. And so I think that's what you read a lot of.
Yeah. And remember, all these guys were war vets. So many of them had arms training. And I was reading about, I remember doing this in A Push in high school, but just rereading all of this and sort of getting really into some of the lesser known ones. Like these guys were pulling up with machine guns in the early 1900s and Gatling guns and just having all out wars with these private armies. Just in, I don't even know how some of these miners or other types of industrial laborers got their hands on these weapons, but it's just wild to see some of the casualties and actual armament that was involved in these labor squabbles.
So Billy, do you have any stats on you that talk about the craziest battles?
Yes, but I have to get off the floor.
Permission denied.
Okay.
No.
How much time does he have?
Running the science.
2 minutes and 50 seconds.
Does anyone else have any? I just remember that sometimes they number like up to like 300 to 400 dead on either side, and there would be like 33,000 versus 10,000, like in straight up battles.
Yeah, it was armies. Can you imagine if that should happen nowadays?
Yeah,
if there was like a battalion of 13,000 coal miners
or Amazon workers,
or 13,000 Amazon workers going to war against like the Seattle Police Department.
That's definitely owned by Jeff Bezos.
How sick would that be?
Pretty metal.
Fire.
It would be metal as fuck, yeah.
And it's all taking place in Chad. What is that place in Seattle?
Oh, Capitol
Hill.
autonomous zone.
Yeah, they're just going to war there.
Now, can you
So there's
imagine?
no civilian casualties.
Can you imagine if there were 13,000 Amazon employees and they like started rioting against the Seattle Police Department? How quickly like the National Guard would swoop in?
Yeah.
Like it would become a fucking bloodbath.
I think the only thing, the most modern equivalent, I'm trying to think, that we could picture something like that is maybe the LA riots.
That's a little bit different though, because
That's a different type
labor.
of, right. But I'm trying to think of like what kind of like chaos could be comparable.
Every NHL player starts beating the fuck out of the refs.
The Vancouver riots because their hockey team didn't win.
Yeah, that was actually that was
Yeah.
crazy.
That's the closest thing it could be comparable to.
Like they destroyed all downtown Vancouver just because they lost the Stanley Cup. They were like throwing trash cans through windows and shit. But no, I mean those were more about labor, more about like the people that were working in these areas. They couldn't afford to do anything, so the only recourse that they had was to go on strike, and then essentially turn themselves into an army, which is crazy. I feel like if that happened nowadays, the reaction would like people would panic. Actually, I think people would panic and they'd turn it into like this whole country is going to hell and like it would become a civil war.
Well, the thing is just there's no way for low skilled labor to ever really, like for example, the Amazon workers. I mean, I'm not saying it's low skilled labor, but like the influx of immigrant laborers coming to this country has definitely sort of quelled, has sort of stopped that sort of power that a lot of the unions had, or people trying to unionize.
I think it's made it more difficult. Yeah. Like for low wage jobs.
Yeah, that's why I think
Because there's been like a natural divide that's created.
Billy, get up.
All right, Billy, that's your 8-minute nap.
I didn't even nap.
You said that you didn't have to nap.
I think you did have to nap.
We should call that
I mean, it's a Navy nap.
I
I
think
would
you had to
assume.
close your eyes and not talk.
we should call that a Connor nap.
Oh, that's a good one.
What do you think about that, Big T? Okay, so I'm going to be in Nashville this weekend. So Big T was giving me some advice on places to go out in terms of where to golf. What was the name of the golf course that you said?
Hold on 1 second. The Troubadour.
Okay, got it. If anybody else out there has any advice for places to go in Nashville, please let me know. I've got my bars that I already like in Nashville. I've got my restaurants that I like. You've probably heard me talk about at least one of them before.
Have you ever gone on a pedal bike tour?
I will never do that.
It's lucky sick.
No, it's not low-key sick. I did it one time in Austin, and it looks way cooler when you drive past it. And you like, look, oh man, those people are pedaling and they're drinking on the road. It goes so fucking slow. If there are any hills at all, it's just a big
Well,
pain
not
in
in
the ass.
Nashville because it's pretty flat.
Okay.
Dude, do that. You get to bring your own booze, and it's insane. And it's like when you're drunk is like so much easier. Like walking long distances, like pedaling when you're drunk is so much easier.
Yeah, I could just ride a bike.
Yeah, but you don't have to steer. Someone else is steering.
All right, so Billy, look up some fun facts about, or just some facts in general about the labor battles that you wanted to
Actually,
discuss.
I'm just gonna read the names of some of these because it's insane. The Battle of Blair Mountain, 1921. The Heron Massacre. The Battle of Verdun. Like this isn't a war. These are like
So let's
events.
not just read the names about them. Let's talk a little bit
Well, yeah.
about each one, because the Battle of Blair Mountain, that is the biggest domestic military conflict since the Civil War
yeah.
that happened. So that was West Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
and it was 10,000 coal miners against 3,000 cops and strikebreakers.
Yeah. So there was about wait, where were we? Okay. So the individuals involved was the striking coal miners, the United Mine Workers. This is the Battle of Blair Mountain. And then the other parties were the Baldwin Felts Detective Agency, the Logan County Sheriff's Department, and the West Virginia State Police. So there's 30,000 National Guard, that were deployed for 10,000 strikers, and those 10,000 strikers had just been dealing with 30,000 of the local police departments. The casualties were 100 striking miners were killed, 1,000 arrested, 30 local police killed, and 3 National Guardsmen killed.
So just guess, not you, Billy, but maybe Arian, you guess, how many shots do you think were fired in this confrontation?
I have no idea.
A million. There were a million shots were fired. That's so many fucking bullets to be fired. Also, they're terrible shots.
So
I just want to point that out. A million shots and they only hit 100 people.
Only hit 100 people.
So at Gettysburg, there was an estimated 7 million rounds of ammunition. So it was a seventh of Gettysburg. So that's pretty nuts.
Damn. And I think when they unionized, I think that was one of Mother Jones's speeches.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? You guys know Mother Jones?
Yeah, Mother Jones was
Girl boss.
Girl boss.
Mother Jones, she would just like travel around the country, just like cussing at people and screaming at crowds, getting them to rise up and unionize together. To like the really, really poor people. Yeah, Aaron, you should read about Mother Jones. You would love her.
Yeah. You and Mother Jones would be tight.
You and Mother Jones would be tight.
But yeah, some crazy stuff.
On the docket.
All right, so read some more names of some of these confrontations, Billy.
So there was the Battle of Verdun in 1890. That sounds like a World War I battle. Battle of Verdun.
Yeah.
1898. The Pana Coal Company attempted to import African American strikebreakers.
Because it was a battle in the World War.
Verdun.
Yeah, Verdun.
This is Virden.
Oh, so it's pronounced exactly the same.
Yeah. Well, I've only read this, so it could be Virden.
Verdun.
Yeah, it's in Illinois.
Got it.
So this had way less casualties, but basically they were trying to bring in African American strikebreakers when they went nuts and got into a total battle with the strikers. And yeah, they try to stop the train, and they just started shooting at the professionals who were trying to defend the strikebreakers being imported in. There was 5 killed. Okay, so on the striking side, there was 8 killed, 30 wounded. On the strikebreakers side, there was 5 killed, 5 wounded.
This was back in the era where there were a bunch of like private detective agencies. Whenever you hear the name of like a last name detective agency, I automatically think like 1910, like evil movie villain. Was there any that was the Pinkertons, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just called themselves detective agencies. That's when you could like kind of organize your own militia, as long as you gave yourself a name that sounded like you were the police. And people would be like, okay, I respect that.
I think that like dates back to the Haymarket Affair of 1886, when basically there was a bunch of Pinkertons trying to disperse striking workers, and then someone threw a gigantic dynamite bomb into their midst.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
And blew a bunch of them up, right?
Yeah. Dude, I mean, these guys were going crazy.
Yeah, the Pinkerton Detective Agency. I'm gonna look them up because I want to get some of the facts right on this one. Okay, so they were founded in 1850, and they foiled a plot to assassinate Abraham Lincoln, or so they say. And then, so that gave them like a little bit of street cred. And so then Lincoln hired their agents to spy against the Confederacy and made them his like own personal security because he trusted them at the time. And then they ended up getting hired by every giant corporation, every one of the bosses in America, so that they would become private security for like the biggest corporations and the factories. And then they would just like fuck up union organizers. They would just show up and beat the shit out of them. Watch the Sopranos episode where they do that. That's basically where they got it from. All right, so the Baltimore plot was a conspiracy in late February 1861 to assassinate President-elect Abraham Lincoln en route to his inauguration. Alan Pinkerton, founded the Pinkerton National Detective Agency, played a key role by managing Lincoln's security throughout the journey. Scholars debate whether or not the threat was real. Clearly, Lincoln and his advisors believed that there was a threat and took actions to ensure his safe passage. So I'm trying to read here about the actual plot.
That would actually be mad. Like, imagine if I made you think that there was a plot against you, and then I solved it, and it was like, oh, went away, I solved it.
I feel like that's like a common trope in sitcoms where you like set somebody up for a disaster just to try to save their life, and it usually like backfires and you get caught setting it up.
We should make.
It's like when, you know what it is? It's like when Billy was trying to bench press 275 pounds.
I did it.
And I put too much weight on there because I knew that he could only do 255 because Billy and I bench press the exact same amount of weight.
That's not true.
And so I put 275 on there just because I knew that it would fail, so I could then grab the bar and save Billy's life and make him trust me forever.
Just like my soft hands.
Yep. But yeah, I feel like that's in TV shows all the time, right? The old like, I'm gonna set this up. So there's probably a million episodes of Simpsons like that.
The most famous Private Detective episode is when they make drinking illegal, and Rex Banner comes to town, and then they end up catapulting him out of town.
Yep.
Dude, remember that conversation we were having over text, which I put Arian's brain completely in a pretzel by comparing communism to religion?
It did not put my brain in a pretzel.
It was an absolute pretzel because
It's a bad analogy.
Because it's entirely analogous.
No, it's like the opposite of analogy.
No, it's absolutely the same. Like, think about this.
I will, but
Right. So communism, right? It's never like true communism, how not socialism, not national socialism, not how you described it, like communism, which was not demonstrated. So we were looking at TikTok and basically talking about how this a barista in like coffee making place was basically entirely communist, and not communist in the real sense, but advertising itself as like a commune where people would like try to co-op and sort of do all that stuff. And then,
which is not communist.
Right. So then this TikTok commentator was like, oh my God, ha ha ha, they commodified communism. And then so then Big T brought it up, and Arian was like, that's not communism. That's not communism. So Arian, what is communism?
When you talk about like economic theories, like it's like a broad umbrella term of a lot of different facets, right? But in its basic form, it's a classless, moneyless, stateless society.
Now, has this ever existed?
No.
So,
except in Star Trek.
In fiction. So what?
How did it work out in Star Trek?
We fucking dominate intergalactically. We travel amongst the stars.
Case closed.
Meet other civilizations and do very well.
Then have sex with them. So as I was saying, this idea of communism.
Captain Riker was on them extraterrestrial.
Kirk was Captain Kirk like clapping alien cheeks?
Yeah, absolutely. Kirk and Riker were probably the two horniest Starfleet people in existence.
Big T, can you hit me water real quick?
So my thing was like, okay, so we don't know. We had this idea of communism. People who want communism strive for communism, but they don't know that they have an idea that it exists, but don't know if it's possible or if it really exists. So I was like, that's exactly what sort of religious people who pray for salvation and want salvation through belief. It's the exact same premise. So I was wondering, Arian, how you balance that sort of same almost ideology of believing in something that you might not know exists or will ever be possible to exist as an atheist who does not believe.
Because you're drawing parallels that aren't analogous.
I think it's absolutely
like I originally
analogous.
said. Okay, is not, and do you believe in a God?
So I believe that there is divine construction, which might then
All right.
cause, like, an afterlife.
Gotcha. So you're not necessarily religious, right?
Right, but just in that I believe.
No,
in,
it's not a gotcha. I'm just curious.
but I believe in religion in that divine
Gotcha.
construction.
Irrelevant. Yeah, irrelevant. But so you're not. I wouldn't consider you religious, right? By your definition.
Right.
And so the parallel that you're drawing that is not correlated to a hope in a better society is that the core tenet of religion is faith, right? Belief without seeing, belief without sight, whatever they say.
Mhm.
And it's not. I don't believe in communism. That's not an accurate depiction. What it is, I think that it has some tenets that we should strive to emulate. Like that is a very different thing than I believe when I die something happens, or I believe in a higher power without having any kind of evidence to back it up.
But
Does that make sense?
do you have any evidence that communism, in striving towards different tenets of communism, is possible or even beneficial? If it's never
Yeah.
existed, but it's
Yeah,
never
if-
existed.
if-
So how do you know?
I mean, there are microcosms all over, right? If you have, we evolved from communal environments, right? To where it's not about the exchange of labor, right? And how we quantify that, where it's about the basis of human kindness of I'm going to do this not because it's about me, it's not for me, it's for us. We grew up in that. I mean, that's how we evolved. And I was not. I mean, in order to get into economic theory, you had to have all your
Right.
shit in order. And I don't have it with me right now offhand. But we could definitely have that conversation when I'm more prepared to have that conversation. But there's I think a basic difference between something that like an economic theory that you believe to be true, and then or not even believe to be true, that believe will have a benefit for society. And I don't think you'll find any communist that believes. You might, right? You'll be hard pressed, but like that believes right now throwing this society into communism will be beneficial. That would be chaotic. I don't think most rational agents don't believe that.
I just think there's more parallels between this idea of something that has never existed and we are not sure is possible to something we don't know exists.
But
and
nothing
don't know is
has,
possible.
I mean, capitalism has never purely existed either, but you believe in its tenets, right? You believe that it's freed us from X, Y, Z or whatever, poverty, all that shit, right? Like capitalism has always been regulated to some extent, right? But the definition of capitalism is not having regulation. So it's when you break it down like that, nothing has actually existed. These are all thoughts that human beings have.
So to not get into the tenets of capitalism or its virtues or its downfalls, but Billy, to answer your question of like how is that not just basically a religion? It's like saying I believe that nobody should commit murder in this world, or there should be no wars. There should be no wars in this world. If you say that, it's never happened, right? In the history of it, but you can probably say objectively it would be true if there weren't.
What is your definition of religion?
No, more I just want to say the belief system of religion.
You can believe in something that doesn't
Right.
exist yet.
That's sort of what I'm like, the parallels I'm driving.
But I'm saying, well, what is your definition of religion?
Any sort of belief system that I think religion.
So if I believe one day I'm gonna have kids, and I don't have kids, am I religious towards having children?
No. The belief. Okay, so the actual definition, and that's sort of the belief and worship of a superhuman controlling power, especially a personal god or gods. So just like a divine being. So belief in a divine being.
I mean, I agree with that definition, but your parallel doesn't. if you're saying somebody it believes in communism, so as it's some supernatural deity, like it's an obvious.
I think a
non
belief
sequitur.
a belief in a divine being is sort of a parallel to a belief in a divine society. That's communism.
How is a society divine?
Like this idea that communism is a classless, like
Well, now you have to define divine.
a superior,
Like utopia.
yeah,
But I think you should look up divine.
D-
The word divine.
divine-
I think the biggest problem communists have is the logo. Logo's way out of date. The sickle and the hammer.
it should be a
Sickle and hammer.
keyboard and a.
Very strong logo.
It's strong, but it's like it's out of date. I don't think it connects with the youth.
You want to update it like the gun emoji?
Yeah, it should be a
Yeah.
keyboard and a iPhone.
Yeah, keyboard. Yeah, keyboard and a phone.
Keyboard and a smartphone produced by a very large corporation.
Yeah, a Bluetooth. It's sponsored by Bluetooth technology.
No, I just
Did you look up divine?
yeah of or well, it's now loop of, from, or like God or a god. So not divine, but superior. A superior being in a superior society.
That changes the definition. This is why I said what you're saying is not analogous. So like to believe in something does not necessarily mean that you believe it's in its divinity, right? Like to for an example, Muslims love Jesus Christ, right?
Mhm.
They think he was a prophet. They think he was a wonderful man, but they don't believe in his divinity, so they don't worship Jesus Christ, right?
Right.
They worship Allah, which is their God, right? And so you can believe in something and not necessarily worship it.
No, that's fair. I just wanted to. I'm probably not just explaining it exactly how I see it in my head, but I just feel like there's definitely just like the belief, or not belief, but this idea that something may exist and may be possible is what I sort of see the parallel in.
I think you have a I think you have a fundamentally skewed view of what religions
It's more of
like tenets are.
yeah, but it's more of atheist criticisms of religion. I think could also be applied to communism. And communism as this, not
It's apples and oranges. It's
Right.
apples and oranges.
but sort of we were talking about how this is socialist, not communist. But this is in communism is not an example of any of these things. It's something that's never been achieved. That's not, but like that's sort of how communism is untouchable because it's almost like a believe type thing. Like it's something that doesn't exist. We're going round and round the conversation, but like the idea that atheists are like, well, there's no proof. It's the same way. Can communism exist? A total communist society exist? Has it ever existed? Well, there's no proof. I think that's the allegory I'm trying to make.
Well, that's what I'm saying is no pure economic system has ever existed. Like capitalism has not
True.
purely existed. And so I don't think communists argue that this is the way, the light, and the only way to go. I think what they argue is that capitalism at its core is exploitive and it's destructive, and there are other ways to ease worker relationships with the people. I think that's what they argue.
True. Anyway, we can move on. I just wanted to bring up that tidbit.
I wanted to talk about the history of labor in sports because it's actually really interesting to look at. If you think of with the way that Major League Baseball, like NFL is set up nowadays, you have, free agency. It's just like a commonly accepted thing that, players after they get drafted, they fill out their first contract for that team, and then they hit the open market and they can either choose to re-sign with their own team or they have the opportunity to get, 31 other franchises in the NFL into a bidding war where they go to the highest bidder and they maximize their value. And it's like fairly recent, you could say, like going back to the 70s. Before the 70s, in baseball, you had to play for whatever team you initially signed with. There was really nothing that you could do. They had a clause in the contract that was set up where you were not allowed to just like, you had to remain with the team that drafted you. And it got challenged by a guy named Curt Flood. So if you haven't heard the name Curt Flood, every baseball player now owes a tremendous debt of gratitude to Curt Flood. And he's not in the Hall of Fame. I think he should be. I really do. I think he should be because he changed how baseball is played. And everybody these days that has like an argument of like a greedy free agent that leaves, gets a huge contract, and then decides to stop playing or stop trying because it's annoying to your team. I understand like that mindset from a sport that has like a salary cap or whatever. You want to see your team win. If there's a guy that you spend a lot of your salary on, it's frustrating if they're not playing well. But there's also, 99% of the other people in the league that are making a lot more money for themselves and for their families that would not be possible if it wasn't for free agency and if it wasn't for Curt Flood, especially in baseball. So in 1970, Curt Flood filed $1 million lawsuit against Major League Baseball, saying that I believe it's called the I'm going to look it up. I think it's a servitude clause. Hang on, let me just double check on this because I should know this, but I forgot it. But he was going to be traded, and he didn't want to be traded. The reserve clause, excuse me, it was called the reserve clause. So the reserve clause meant that a team would. They had the player as their property, and they could do with that player what they chose. They could trade him, they could sign him, they could cut him, and there's really not a lot that the player could do about it. So Curt Flood challenged the reserve clause in 1970, went all the way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court basically threw their hands up and they said, "I'd prefer not really to rule on this." Well, they did rule on it 5-3, but their basis on rejecting his claim was they were like, things are pretty good as they are. I don't think that we need to change anything. There was no real like hard and fast law behind it. They were just like, whatever. I don't feel like this merits a giant change in how we deal with Major League Baseball. But because he filed that lawsuit, because it went all the way to the Supreme Court, a couple years later, there was a decision called the Cites decision, which came in 1975, that an arbiter declared that Major League Baseball players became free agents upon playing 1 year for their team without a contract. So it nullified that reserve clause. And that was Andy Messerschmidt and Dave McNally that ended up being the ones that benefited from that. Curt Flood never saw any money come from his lawsuit because, well, it didn't win, number one, and then two, he was blackballed after the fact. So no team would sign him because he tried to upset the apple cart too much. But if it weren't for him, you would not see players, and you would probably not see baseball growing to the extent that it has. Well, you definitely wouldn't over the last like 50 or so years. But Curt Flood should be in the Hall of Fame he essentially like gave up his career, and he probably didn't understand the implications that what he was doing. He probably wanted, he didn't want to be traded to Philadelphia. So he was like, I want to do this for myself. Probably wasn't looking too far down the line, but it impacted the game. Like, you can't describe how much what he did impacted Major League Baseball and impacted sports in general, that gave the players more power because they had zero power, absolutely zero power before Floyd. And, they had to work jobs in the offseason. It was not like a living wage. They weren't superstar millionaire athletes at the point. But Curt Flood made a big difference back in 1970. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like his name doesn't get discussed that much anymore. I feel like most people don't know about Curt Flood.
So I obviously knew there was a time, before free agency, but I guess I only thought about this now. What if a team knew that they just have your rights forever and there's nothing you can do about it? Like, what incentive was there to pay anybody? Like, did they go to arbitration?
Well, because players could decide not to play.
Okay, so I guess they only had to pay you enough money that it was worth your time to play.
Yeah.
Because now there's kind of that situation still in baseball in the MLB draft where if you're a junior in college and you can go back to school and the team drafts you, they have to give you a big enough signing bonus that it's worth your time to not go back to school. If you're a college senior, they get like $1,000 signing bonus. And
So-
they're like, we don't have to give you anything.
One of the main differences back then, before the 1970s, was there were no like lucrative TV contracts. So if you wanted to make money as a team owner, you had to sell tickets. Like you had to have a decent amount of people coming to see you play in your games, and you couldn't do that if you had a shitty team. So they had to pay guys enough money, like the good players, enough money if they wanted to get people to come see.
That makes sense.
So I think that had a lot to do with it back then.
It's also why they jam double headers in every sport in their stadiums so that they could have it packed from sun up to sundown.
Baseball should still play doubleheaders, I contend. Like scheduled.
Maybe.
I think
Oh,
like
such a-
one Sunday a month, play a doubleheader, and then you get an extra off day.
Maybe. I don't know if the union would ever allow that.
It's not a bad idea. In football, they had kind of a similar thing that they went through. Arian, do you know how much you know about the history of labor in the NFL?
I know that there was no free agency up until was the 80s. I think it was the 80s, and I believe wasn't Eric Dickerson like fundamentally involved in that? I don't remember exactly the
With the
history.
USFL?
Yeah, the competing leagues, that definitely helped. There was something called the Rizzo rule that got put into place in 1963. And in the Rizzo rule, if a team lost a free agent, the team that signed that free agent had to compensate his former team. And if the teams did not agree to terms, Commissioner Rizzo had the final authority to decide what the compensation would be. So teams were less likely to sign free agents because they knew that it was like a trade. So it was basically a trade that the commissioner would rule on whether or not it was fair and equitable to send like whatever assets that they were going to pay to the former team. So it was no different really than a trade for a long time. There was a guy named Freeman McNeil too. I think
Oh shit!
you know him.
That's right. My dad went to high school with him, Freeman McNeil.
Really?
Holy shit! Yeah. So they played high school ball together. He went to, I believe, UCLA and then the Jets.
So where'd your dad go to high school?
Banning High in Carson, California.
So it was in 1990 that Freeman McNeil he filed a lawsuit with 8 other players against the NFL. So he was a free agent after 11 years with the Jets, and he thought that an NFL player could never. I'm reading from the Washington Post article right now from 1992. Could never truly be free as long as the league prohibited players from moving from one team to another without costly consequences for the receiving team. I think that's a fair argument to make. Like it's not a free agent if, let's say, hypothetically, Lamar Jackson's contract runs up at the end of this year, and he wants to go play for the Minnesota Vikings. If that were the case, then the Minnesota Vikings would probably have to send the Baltimore Ravens, like maybe Adam Thielen or somebody like a player of that stature would have to be sent back to the Baltimore Ravens if they wanted to sign Lamar Jackson, even though Lamar Jackson would not be under contract for the Baltimore Ravens. So it was still like lingering property rights.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually an interesting, like residual emotions that people feel like players are disloyal, right, for seeking out employment elsewhere and payment elsewhere, when that's just residual like exploitation from the NFL owners with bad and faulty rules. Like, because like people got used to seeing one player with a franchise their entire career because it was more monetarily favorable for the franchise to not have free agents come and go. That's actually interesting.
Yeah, and it only really existed in sports. So if there was like a really good software engineer, and let's say that person worked at like Oracle, and then their contract ran up after 3 years, and they're like, hey, you know what? I want to go work for Microsoft. There wouldn't be like a bunch of Oracle fanboys being like, that guy is a greedy fuck. Fuck him.
Not even worked at Oracle, like graduated MIT and was drafted to Oracle.
You're right.
Yeah.
Like they had a bad year. They got the first pick that year.
Yeah.
Oracle was in the mud.
And
That would be fun. Engineer drafts.
they're like, listen, I don't want to live in the Bay Area anymore. Real estate's too high. I'd like to work somewhere closer to where my family lives. You know, and they're like, any software engineering jobs I could take in Miami. And people are like, fuck you, dude. You ungrateful piece of shit. We drafted you. We made you our franchise engineer.
The draft's going to be the next big labor thing. I know it's really just Bomani who pushes against it. Everyone else is pretty in favor of the draft. But that's going to be the next big thing to fall, if it ever falls.
Florio's against it too. He's against the
There's
draft.
been more people. I mean, Tyler's been against it forever. There's been, I feel like, more of a push for it. I think the second ABC turned it into the saddest 3 hours of television. That's when more people were like, all right, I don't need all this.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say about the draft is that there's some value that gets baked into the league by having a draft where shitty teams are able to get good players out of college, right?
Which team can you point? Like the Jaguars have had so many number one
Bengals.
picks.
Yeah,
The
Bengals.
Bengals hit on one, yes.
I mean, a lot of teams.
But the Bengals, even like the Bengals,
The Colts.
for most
I mean,
2000
it's not that often that it happens that immediately, but like the Falcons were terrible. They drafted a quarterback who took them to a Super Bowl and should have gone to a couple more.
The Packers would be a good example of that too. Like getting Brett Favre, or I guess they traded for Brett Favre. That doesn't really
Yeah,
count.
they traded for Favre and they got Rodgers in the late 20s.
They got Rodgers in the late 20s. The Colts.
Panthers.
Peyton Manning essentially built that stadium.
Sure, but even they were.
That
That was a coin flip. That wasn't even the draft. They got that because of a coin flip.
Edgerrin James,
Yeah,
Marvin Harrison.
yeah. There were other.
He has some help.
There were other good players for sure.
He has some help. Yeah.
But I'm saying like there's
The
some.
Tampa Bay Lightning had like one of the best stretches of drafting in the history of sports, and they're about to win a third straight title.
Yeah, Ovi for the Capitals.
Coley, I remember talking to Tyler, dog, and he's the first one I ever heard like, yo, you should let players pick where they want to go. And I when I first heard it, I was like, that shit is silly, man. What are you talking about? But then he started explaining it, and he slowly swayed me. Can you explain? Because I don't remember the argument. Can you explain, or do you remember the argument?
It's kind of what we've been discussing with this Oracle thing. Like, yeah, if you would have to have like almost a second salary cap, like a rookie wage scale, or it could be baked into the regular salary cap. Because if you think about it from your position coming out of Tennessee, like you'd want to go not necessarily to the best team, you'd want to go where you could play the most or where you think you'd have the best opportunity to earn. So I think, and we talked about it a lot with basketball, and I think basketball skews people's minds because if you're the number one pick, you might still want to go play for the Lakers, regardless of who's on the Lakers, because you probably will get some minutes. But if it is capped and it is this thing where it's like, hey, at the end of the day, I still want to get my minutes because that's where I'm going to get paid by performing the most on my second deal. That's where like these shitty teams and this idea that like the Jaguars or the Browns, these perpetual number one picks, they'll still get plenty of it will make them become better at managing teams. Like the New Orleans Pelicans, everyone wants to cry foul for them because they lost AD, they lost Chris Paul, they're probably going to lose Zion. It's like, yeah, you guys keep fucking up the same exact way. Why should you be rewarded with wasting these number one picks careers? Like, why should they get that? This idea that it's like fairer, it really isn't. Like it's.
So I think the main argument is on the surface, it sounds like it'll be heavily skewed towards major cities.
Right.
But when you really break it down, the majority of good players who want a second deal, and it's contingent on having a low bar for the first deal, right? And then majority of players who want.
Well, that's not really, because if like, let's say next year's NBA draft has this French prospect who's this generational kid. So if the Lakers, just for example, because they are the city, they are the team that most people point to, let's say they shed all their
those are facts, my guy.
let's say they shed all of their salary this year and they could just give him a max deal. Like, I don't see why that shouldn't exist either. Like, if you really wanted to put everything on this kid, and the NBA already has certain maxes, like he couldn't get the same max Beal could get because he hasn't accrued the time in the league. He hasn't been named to all-star games. So whatever the rookie max could be, yeah, why not? I don't see why not. But also, if you had like a team like Kentucky or Duke, where 4 of their guys did play for the same AAU team and they did play for Kentucky and they wanted to play for the Houston Rockets, yeah, why couldn't they do that? Like, I don't.
Yeah, so I think that's the thing is on the surface it seems like all the big cities will just continue to get the big market players, but the argument is, the theory is, the smaller market teams would end up getting a lot better quality players because they'll be hungry to prove themselves and to get paid. And like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, no, I don't hate that shit at all. Like,
and Bomani took it a step further on his HBO show this year, where it was like, we've turned free agency into a spectacle already. So like, the draft has become this moneymaker, especially for the NFL. It's this whole weekend of stuff. Make free agency the money, like have these guys show up, kind of like college signing day. Like, yeah, I signed with the Tennessee Titans, and he puts on the hat, people go crazy. Like, there's still a way to satiate everyone's appetite here. Like, it doesn't have to be the draft. I still like the draft, but I do understand this point. I like the draft because it's chaos. I like teams fucking up. I like looking back 5 years and being like, oh, you really fucked up. Like, I love that aspect of it. But in the idea of actual fairness, like, it really isn't fair. What was it, hockey or base? I think it's baseball. Big T, you're gonna have to correct me. Hockey or baseball just implemented a new rule where you can't get the top 3 pick X amount of years in a row.
I have not heard of that. I don't think that's baseball.
It might be baseball. If you you can no longer be rewarded for being incompetent. So you can't just like tank 7 years in a row and get the number 1 pick 7 years in a row. You can't just truly be bad. Like, you'll just get jumps. You're like, all right, I think the highest you can get is the 6th pick. So if you pick in the top 3 years in a row, like, that's a good incentive, because there are too many teams who are like the Oakland Athletics. Like, we're going to keep our payroll in the dirt. We're not paying anyone shit. The second you're about to get paid, you're out of here. We're trading you for more prospects. We're not even going to rebuild our stadium. People are going to get injured climbing to their seats in the outfield. That shit's going to stop. Like, there's going to be salary floors. There's going to be stuff like that. And if it's time to incentivize the owners to actually give a shit and not just treat them like investments, which some people do, some people don't.
Hey man, I am pro no draft. When I heard him talking about it, I was like, yo, fam, like, you crazy. But the more I hear it, the more I'm like, that is actually fire. Because you're right, it incentivizes ownership to really know what's going on in your organization. It incentivizes GMs to not make bonehead moves. It incentivizes players to bet on themselves. Like, I don't hate it, bro.
Like, the Lions got their franchise quarterback. We know Matt Stafford's good now because he won with the Rams last year. We don't they had him for a decade and didn't do shit. It also
prevents tanking, which causes more parity. People will be competing, and then you'll have guys, because I think it'll be great for some, like guys like Stafford. Like, there's so many other guys who just were drafted into bad situations and couldn't get a good place, and then some of those guys who are good, it would promote parity because they'll end up in another situation if the first time wasn't the best, and you'll have like better quarterback play. I think I'm just thinking this in the quarterback mindset, just because a lot of the number 1 picks and guys who flame out are quarterbacks, and you'll have a lot of these guys spread out across the league, which improves offensive play like way more, and then we'll have way more parity in the league.
Would you ever want to be a quarterback that would go willingly to the Detroit Lions?
I think you'll have mid-level quarterbacks who know that they can start there and who like are in a don't want to be in a competing battle.
But here's the thing though. Nobody thinks they're a mid-level anything.
Correct. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right, but realistically mid-level. But like, for example, let's say Tom Brady or an equivalent Tom Brady, signs with you just because he wants to live in Florida.
Who's
and
the
retire.
Tom Brady equivalent that we're thinking about?
We're thinking about this in the future.
Because I want to sign him immediately.
let's say
Desmond
Well,
Ritter.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They slotted him as a mid-level quarterback,
Oh.
and he ended up being one of the greatest of all time. So,
Right.
But in his head, though, he wasn't mid-level. That's what I'm saying. It's
Right.
like if you're any kind of athlete,
But that's why I'm
you
saying,
don't
like,
think you're mid-level.
some guy would go to Detroit because he's like, I'm the best quarterback.
I
I'm going
agree,
to
I agree.
Detroit because
Yeah.
I'm going to turn that city around.
It's
That's
not
what
even
I'm
that.
saying.
It's like
I
if
agree.
you're Mac Jones, just for example, and you went to college with like two of the best receivers in the country, you're like, yeah, fuck it, let's go to Detroit. Like their problem is they don't have any of us three. Let's all go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I don't dislike this.
but-
I don't.
So it would actually, like, teams wouldn't be able to do that though. Like, you couldn't afford all three of those guys. It would
Not
actually.
necessarily.
They take pay cuts to win and then maybe get paid somewhere else.
Well, see, that's actually where it would fall apart. Where I think the league would step in and be like, we got to go back, because if guys were taking pay cuts to go form teams like that.
Right, but they
Well, that's where
Fire.
the cap would have to come into play, because especially football, you still 50. Since COVID, I've forgotten. 53. They raised it to what, like 56 during COVID, something like that.
Maybe I think it's back to normal, but
Yeah, whatever it is and will be, they're still going to have to work within those confines. So whatever the rule they set up is, whether it's a rookie salary cap or if it just counts against your traditional salary cap, you're right. They can't have people all signing for like 7th round minimums.
what
I
you'd
agree
have
with that.
you'd have to make, like, the first guy you sign can make more than the second guy, and so on.
Maybe, but now you just sound like a union buster.
but also
What do you mean? That's
You're
what
just
it
trying
is
to restrict
now.
People's wages.
That's
It's
what
like
it. That's what it is now in the draft.
But like, think about the Miami Heat when they signed LeBron, Wade, and Chris Bosh. They all signed for essentially the same amount of money, and LeBron was essentially much better than the other two. So, like, was that fair or unfair? I argue it's fair. That's what they wanted to do.
Yeah, I think that's different than when you're coming into the league.
Sure, but these guys all, like, there is a risk here. Like, just because you were good in college doesn't mean you're going to be good in the pros.
That's true, but that's the risk you take in the draft.
From the player
But this is going to be the
standpoint,
risk signing them too.
the players always like to make sure that veterans get paid their fair share. Guys that have put in the time in the league, that
Fair
have
share. That's a political term.
well, you know what I'm saying? Like veterans have put in time in the league. They've proven themselves. They've built value for the team. They've built value for the league based on the years that they've played, and they've proved that they can do it. So it's important that they get paid commensurate with their value, as opposed to like a rookie coming in. Like, basically what broke the mold in the NFL was Jamarcus Russell and the
Ooh,
Oakland Raiders.
I thought it was
Sam Bradford.
Yeah, Bradford.
Well, Bradford got a lot of money, but I feel like it had more to do with the fact that Jamarcus Russell got paid so much money, and
He
then
like 60 M's, didn't he?
and then he was like, you know what? Why do I have to even show up?
Well, that's the Raiders' fault.
Yeah, so it's the Raiders' fault for giving him that. Yes, it absolutely is. But I think a lot of veteran players at that point were like, wait, that money should be going to us, like people that have put in time and effort and
I
built
don't
like
disagree with that though.
that veteran players deserve a bigger portion of the pie.
I would say bigger, right? I think you're worth whatever somebody wants to pay you, but they should have reserved funds for people who have given you labor over time and it's proved to be efficient. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. So in this aspect, if you were to just
Especially healthcare. Fucking bums.
yeah, so the way that the NFL divvies that up now is like I forget the exact number. It's somewhere around 50% of the money. It might be 49, might be 51. I'm not sure, but that percentage of the revenue from the league goes to the salaries that are paid to the players. And so it was determined in the CBA, the most recent one, that of that 51 or 50%, whatever it is, that goes to the players, X amount of it is going to be set aside for the rookie pay scales. So they are artificially depressing the wages of rookies that come into the league, but it's more so to pay more money to the players that have already been in the league. So I'm curious to know how, like, eliminating the draft, if you make it purely capitalistic and purely any team can pay whatever amount of money that they choose to new players. How is that going to affect the competitiveness of that team if there are veterans on these bad teams, knowing that they're giving out massive contracts to guys that haven't played when they've been there and they've already showed themselves?
Yeah, I mean, if you're on a bad team, I don't know what to tell you. If you stink, like, yeah, people are going to pay other people to be better than you. That's just kind of how it goes in all sports already.
Right.
What was the question? What was the question that you asked?
I'm curious how that would tie into the concept of not having a draft at all. Like, what would the impact? Like, okay, let's go back to the Lions. I don't mean to pick on the Lions because I like the Lions and I hope they do well this year. But let's say that you've been on the Lions for 4 seasons. You still have 2 seasons left on your contract or whatever, and you've been a
bad deal.
Yeah, it's a bad deal. You
already.
you've all right. Let's narrow it down then. Let's say that you've played 2 seasons for the Lions. You have 2 more left on your contract.
Okay.
And you made a Pro Bowl 1 year. You're a good player. Your team stinks, and it has stinked ever since you've been on it. Has stunk, excuse me, since you've been on the team. And then they're paying like a rookie quarterback who is projected to be, I don't know, like the 5th or 6th best quarterback in this draft. They're paying that rookie quarterback $15 million, $20 million guaranteed per year for 4 years. You're making $3 million per year. And because you're able to just like entice people to come to Detroit to be a quarterback there because you're a bad team, it's making the wages that they're paying their existing players like you, it's keeping those a little bit lower.
How is it keeping it lower?
Because a bigger percentage of their salary cap is going to entice new, potentially better players that haven't proven themselves to come play in Detroit. Because in Detroit, you would have to pay them more money to entice them to come be a quarterback there because nobody wants to be a quarterback for you.
Are we working with a cap for rookies or no?
I see. I don't know. I don't know what that would look like because
that's what would need to be figured out for sure. Whether or not,
I think there has to be. I think there has to be a cap.
I see both sides of it. Like if you truly stink, right now, like the Detroit Lions, if it won, I mean, the Chicago Bears have hit on 0 quarterbacks so far in the history of their franchise. All 0. They've had picks all over the place. They've hit 0. So it's like, yeah, if that team wants to pay Trevor Lawrence $25 million to come there a year, is that really going to bum people out? Like, is that going to bum out the rest of the team?
I don't think if you're going to have a salary cap for the league, then there has to be a cap for rookies, right? And the reason is exactly what PFT is talking about. Because if you don't, what you're going to have is you have an influx of people buying because the NFL loves to pay for potential, right? That's their favorite fucking thing to do. So you'll have an influx of people spending for potential and not spending for actual efficiency, proven efficiency. You know what I mean? Which is like when you're talking about a labor-induced market, when you're talking about an NFL, right? The brunt of the labor is not by your quarterback. The brunt of the labor is by your guys who are actually in the trenches. And so if you've been grinding for 4 years, you made 1 Pro Bowl, you're a solid player, that man will help you win. You deserve to have some kind of safety net from the league and the players union that says we appreciate your services because we know this is a quarterback driven league. This is our incentivizing you to get paid.
I guess when I hear this, it still sounds like, how are we protecting bad GMs from being bad GMs? That's what it sounds like to me. Because a bad GM wouldn't overextend himself on only potential. They'd have a balance.
Okay, then how do you penalize bad decision making under this model?
By losing.
That's not a deterrent. That never has been.
Sure, but like if you're like, I mean, this is part of the NFL. The NFL, as long as they're sharing revenue, there isn't a ton of incentive for the bottom third of the league, you could argue. Like if they're gonna, like, Jerry Jones has lost money by being part of the NFL, as opposed to as being a part of the NFL's socialist collective bargaining revenue. If he and 10 other or 12 other teams decided not to, they could break that, and then the poorer teams wouldn't have that money. So if that's how they have to incentivize people, then that would be it. Because you're right, losing hasn't incentivized losers. Like that's just is what it is. Like the Oakland Athletics.
Right. It's interesting. It's one of the more fascinating ideas that would revolutionize sports, and I think a positive way. But like I think those details being ironed out would need to happen.
I think you could figure it out. You could, and you would probably. Sure. It would be a little bit of trial and error, where I'm sure that there would be unintended consequences that happen.
The first 5 years would be chaos.
Yeah,
chaos.
Thanks. Yeah.
Belichick would be paying league minimum for
but this is
you have to pay us to play for the Patriots.
This is it's so important though, right? Because when you look at labor history in general in America or globally, there's these issues. It's like Amazon, for instance, recently, right? And I don't know all the fine details, but they just decided some franchises decided to unionize, right? But then even though you're a union, you still have to negotiate with ownership, and that could take years, right? And there's so much leverage that the owners have, and so this is like a back and forth thing, which is going to happen here soon with the NCAA. That labor clusterfuck is going to have to come to a head soon too. It already is with NIL. You have coaches saying this is ruining the sanctity of the game. It's like basically saying it's cool if I get paid, but when you start paying these motherfuckers, it's chaotic because I can't control them. That's basically what they're saying. But again, you have to like labor laws, like workers' comp. Like there's a whole bunch of shit that's gonna have to come to a head here soon. But it's like sports is like a little microcosm of what's happening in amongst the people as well. It's just gonna get interesting.
What do you think is the least valuable first overall pick in all the major sports? Would it be baseball?
Baseball.
Yeah, easily.
Because it takes so long to figure out whether or not it's a hit.
Yeah, and I mean
barely 50-50.
My homeboy was the number one pick in 2004, fresh out of high school.
Who?
Matt Bush.
Oh, okay.
We went to the same high school.
Didn't he just make a comeback like last year?
I don't know if it was last year. It was a minute ago, but like he had went through some legal trouble, and then
I remember that.
And then he got it together. He became like a solid player.
And
I don't know if he was ever All-Star though.
2.6 wins above replacement for his career. He's playing. He's playing this year.
Yeah, it was last year.
Really? I didn't know he was still playing. I'm gonna
21. Yeah.
Now that I'm a big baseball guy, I'm going to pull up on one of his games.
He's playing for the Rangers.
Okay, Matt.
That's
right down the road too. He did.
What do you think? What's the most valuable first overall pick to have?
Basketball, easily.
Yeah.
Basketball, football, hockey.
But
baseball.
what if they pull
I
a
put
Zion?
hockey above football.
Hockey takes a while too.
It can. When you get one of those guys, like you get a Crosby, you get an Ovechkin, you get one of those guys.
You can say that in any sport though, bro. But like I was talking about like statistically speaking, you're probably much more prone to hit in football with a number one pick than hockey. I would say. I haven't done this.
I wasn't even thinking of the hit rate. I was more thinking of like just the impact when it hits. Like if we're taking only hits, like what's the biggest impact?
Football.
A quarterback is
no basketball total. I thought
No, but
we agree basketball's one.
No, but basketball. What if they pull a Zion?
That's not it. We're talking about like
then actually the number 2 overall pick in basketball is worth more.
Yeah,
Kevin Durant, John Morant. Case
That's
closed.
it though. Like if you keep looking at number 2s, it goes way downhill.
Yeah, no, you can just cherry pick the shit out of that one.
Yeah, I think there's more consistent hits on number 1 in basketball than in the other sport.
Yeah.
What about? I mean, I wonder if you look at football, if the number 1 overall pick turns out to be the best player, if there's a different draft slot, like what is by the numbers historically the best pick to have. If you were to look at it, like I don't know what metric you'd use because it's obviously different positions, like number of Pro Bowls or number of all pro selections, maybe.
I've seen people do this for basketball. Like there is a noticeable drop off once you get into the teens historically.
Yeah.
Football. can't remember if I've seen anything on this before. I know what you're asking. I just don't know if the answer exists. You'd think it'd be one, but again, we've talked about, like, we all know the teams who have picked number one historic. Like, it's the same.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
I'm looking at the top 50 draft picks in NFL history. Let's see if there are any that have multiple selections. So it looks like the 199th pick is the best one to have.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, that's the best pick ever
in the NFL draft, because historically you have Tom Brady that got selected there. Joe Montana was selected 82nd. Jim Brown 6th overall. I feel like 6 is a good spot, just off the top of my head.
Ray Jennings.
There we go. There's 2 of them right there.
Facts.
Jerry Rice was 16th, but he cheated. Lawrence Taylor 2nd overall.
Who got picked first?
Above Lawrence Taylor, that's a good question.
What year was that?
That was 1981 NFL draft.
I don't know, 81.
Um,
I got 83 down fucking pat.
Dan Marino 27th.
George Rogers was selected ahead of Lawrence Taylor.
Now, was Marino the best pick in that draft? Value-wise, he was.
That was also Jim Kelly, right?
That was Jim Kelly. That was John Elway.
Ronnie Lott went 8th.
I'm seeing a lot of number
That's a
2
fucking
overall here.
draft class.
Like,
Jeez.
just
And
Lawrence.
it was, Tony Eason and Todd Blackledge. Was there another quarterback?
Mike
in there?
Singletary
Oh, yeah, there
went
was Ken
38th.
O'Brien. Ken O'Brien went to the Jets.
Lawrence Taylor and Barry Jackson, or let's see, Lawrence Taylor and Barry Sanders, yeah, they were both drafted 2nd overall.
The running back was a bad pick.
There you go with that shit.
Retired early. He didn't love the game.
I don't believe that. I push against that.
Yeah,
You can tell who loves the game because they stay around it. Like,
I'm gonna
he's still around it, so he loved it.
I'm gonna go 2nd overall is the most valuable pick in sports. 2nd overall in the NFL draft.
We got 2 of the GOATs: Barry Sanders,
Wilson.
Lawrence Taylor.
Who'd you say,
I
Coley?
can't do it off the top.
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson, yeah, legends, all of them. How are we feeling about
Who's
Zach
good this
Wilson,
year?
Billy?
Well, I think he's gonna be electric. Number 1, 2. I've been looking at some of his camp numbers that just came out from OTAs, and he's throwing a lot of completions. So
Okay.
he's doing a lot of. I mean, he's doing the right stuff.
He's throwing a ton of completions in camp.
He's doing.
Billy's been researching the deep numbers on Zach Wilson.
No, look.
He's been reading all the statistics, and it said
No, look.
he completed a lot of
he's
passes
doing
today.
all the right things in the offseason. He's
Like
flying
what?
out. He's flying out to where his receivers are working out and working out with them. He's not making them come to him. He's doing that. I think he's going to be at tight end university in late June, throwing to all the tight ends.
They invited him to tight end university.
Yeah, he's throwing for them.
Probably just so they can beat the fuck out of him and haze him.
Well, I think we should send me there to find out what's going on with Jake.
If your emojis total up, yes.
I know, but you guys forgot about the emojis, and there's so many times I deserved emojis in the last week that you didn't give me emojis.
Name one thing that you've done the last week where you deserved an emoji. Just one.
Something I did for you last night.
Oh yeah, yep, correct. Okay, I'm gonna give you an emoji.
Yeah.
What you do for
And
him
then-
last night?
Don't worry about it.
Don't
Yeah,
worry
that
about it.
sounds
It's between me and him.
Very sketchy.
I know
Something I
Billy.
did for you last night. Daddy.
Billy did great last night.
Billy threw an assault rifle in the Hudson on behalf of PFT.
Um,
I'm gonna
No,
update the
but
sheet.
there's stuff I've done. Anyway.
Big T, did Stingley went 2nd or 3rd this year?
3rd or
Who went 2?
4th,
Why am I
maybe.
blanking on this?
It was Hutchinson.
Oh, it's Hutchinson. Yeah, that's right. Duh.
Eric Dickerson also number 2 overall.
Damn. you
I feel
might
like
have me.
that's pretty conclusive.
That was 83, right?
Those are my 2 favorite running backs of all time.
1983.
So Seattle had the 2nd pick. They traded back to 3 and took a different running back. All-time bad decision.
Damn. What did
They took the
get?
wrong Kurt Warner. They took the other Kurt Warner, Penn State's own. Terrible call.
Damn. That's tough. Yeah.
How do you look at Eric Dickerson and be like, you know what? I like another running back more, actually.
He was killing too. What was that? The SMU?
Yeah.
Yep.
You gave him the death penalty because they were paying him.
The Pony Express.
Third was the Pony
That team was
Express.
so fucking cool.
So
and SMU hasn't been back since.
Billy, give me a breakdown here of what you expect. Like, what is Zach Wilson's projected stat line for 2022 based off of all the stats you've been reading coming out of mini camps?
I'll tell you his first game stats.
Okay.
Who's the opponent?
Yeah, Billy doesn't even know this.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Ravens. I think he's definitely gonna I think he's gonna get 250 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 20 rushing yards.
And the win?
Actually, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds definitive.
Depends on Lamar Jackson's play. It
Okay.
depends on his bowels.
On Lamar Jackson's butthole. All right, well, Billy, I'm gonna be betting on your analysis, on your breakdown of Zach Wilson's expected points.
June 1st analysis.
He's put on a lot of
3
weight.
months out.
You know how soccer does this all the time? They do like expected goals per game. I love that stat. I have no idea how they calculate it, but
Nobody does, but it's good.
it's good. It's
Like after you lose a game 1-0 and it was like 3.4 to 0.2, the expected goals are like, this is bullshit.
yeah, you're like, we really should have won that game. Billy is our brain for expected yards and expected touchdowns and expected interceptions for Zach Wilson.
We'll see.
I like that. Also, Chris Long drafted 2nd overall. Recurring guest on Macrodosing.
Huh.
So how
Has he
about
been on
that?
Twice?
No, we just say recurring guest.
Oh, he has an open invite.
Open invite to come back, yeah.
Gotcha.
Also, we have recurring listener Kyle Long.
I was gonna say, and Kyle Long can come on.
Kyle's been listening to old episodes and he's like thinking that stuff's happening currently, which happened like 3 months ago.
Like what?
Like texting Big Cat, like, is Billy really bankrupt?
Oh yeah. So apparently Kyle reached out to Big Cat because Billy was talking about how he didn't have any money after the state of West Virginia took all of Billy's hard-fought victory money over Jose Canseco, took those out of his paycheck, and so Big Cat was like, "No, Billy's okay," and Kyle was offering to like buy Billy groceries, which is really nice. Like,
I appreciate that, Kyle. 100%. Thanks,
took
bro.
it. You should have
For
took
a
it.
bit, yeah, for a bit, Kyle Long should adopt you.
That'd be fine.
Well, here's the thing. Like buying Billy, I'm fine with if anybody wants to buy Billy groceries at any time. But don't think that you have to because he can't afford like to buy his own food.
He's fine.
But if you want to send Billy food, I'm not going to stop you from doing that.
Especially meats.
Especially, well, yeah, because Billy has to. You'll like this, Aaron. You'll appreciate this. Billy is going to go vegan for a month if Jason Tatum wins the NBA Finals MVP, and that month would include the 4th of July, which is Billy's
Yeah,
favorite meat holiday.
You know, don't worry about it. He's not going to.
He's not going to? Thank you.
Are you
for
saying
that.
Tatum's not going to, or Billy's
No.
a fraud?
No, Tatum's not. He's not gonna have to go vegan. Tatum's not gonna win MVP.
Marcus Smart will.
No. Steph Curry will. This will be his first MVP.
So you think it's more likely a guy who's never won it will win it over a guy who's also never won
I
it?
said what I said.
I like that.
Steph
I like
Curry MVP in his first MVP in his first finals.
Do you think it's poor reflection on Kobe's legacy that he never won the Magic Johnson Western Conference Finals trophy?
Next question.
Do you think it's a bad look for LeBron that he also never won said award?
I think yes, because he could have. LeBron at least is 0 for 1 on it.
Mm-hmm.
Kobe's 0 for 0. Never had the opportunity.
Why
to.
did they rename them that? They're still alive.
Well, they didn't
Can't
exist.
rename anything.
Oh, they didn't have trophies for
No.
the Eastern Western Conference?
They created the award,
Oh, they just did? Okay.
which is kind of cool, I think. Yeah, what we're going to get is, I mean, we're already having a little bit of it, but it's about to be Steph Curry legacy season. People are foaming at the mouth to start talking about Steph's legacy.
I hate it.
They want him to lose this final so
I
badly.
hate it so much.
Because if he loses his finals, then they can be like, wow, Steph Curry, he can't do it again without Kevin Durant. The league has figured Steph Curry out. We're about to get some of those takes. Steph Curry has never won the NBA Finals MVP award.
Who
He got
are these
carried to his other
dweebs?
awards.
Did
Who are these
Durant win
dweebs?
twice?
I think
Yes.
KD won
Because
twice.
Iguodala won the other one.
AI won one time. Yeah, it was.
Come AI.
Yeah, that's what I call Iggy.
That's insane.
I call him AI.
You're the only person that does.
Yeah, well, it's a fun thing that me and him have.
That's not racist, but I'm gonna say it's racist. that's how much that offends me.
He's my favorite AI.
How many
Ugh.
more?
That's
I'm
ridiculous.
okay. I'm joking on that
Your
one.
favorite 76er AI.
Yeah.
Is there?
Billy, what if I told you that the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 finals MVPs were forwards?
Huh.
Interesting.
Quick question.
Oh, that's not true. Wait, they list Kobe Bryant as a small forward. That's not true.
Oh yeah, he's certainly not.
Quick
Yeah.
question.
Okay, so the last 11.
Huh.
Although what they started Fisher and Vujicic.
Don't worry about it. It's gonna be a point guard this year. Don't even worry about it.
How many more rings would Steph Curry have to win to possibly like? I know it might be a lot.
He's
What if
better
he
than
does?
him already. He's better than him already.
Better than LeBron?
To be like
thought he was gonna
Jordan, LeBron, Curry.
He needs
Who's the
about-
best?
2 or 3 more.
Yeah, that's what I'm rooting for right now. I'm
Yeah.
actually rooting in a
I think
sick
that-
way. I'm rooting for Steph Curry to win.
If
If he wins this year and gets the MVP, let's toss him. Let's just elevate him immediately. He jumps from like number 12 of all time to like in the discussion for the GOAT. Let's do it.
Because
it's not gonna happen. But if he does, if he wins this and he's the unanimous MVP, and like, yo, he won that series. Like he's done many times in other series. And then he wins the next 2. If he gets a 3-peat this, or even
He gets a
back to back,
three-peat?
if he gets a back to back, he's in the conversation.
dude,
I
that's
think
insane.
he's already in that top 10 conversation.
But he's not in the GOAT conversation.
No, for sure not. And I mean, I feel like we need to tinker, and I know PFT is going to hate this, but it really should be era specific how we talk about GOATs. Because if we were to talk about it, it would just be him
No.
versus Giannis.
No, it's not era specific.
Because like I think that would be hilarious
Michael
because,
Jordan's the GOAT.
but like
Sure, right. And that's where I think Steph could never get, like, he'll never get there, ever.
I was gonna say if you know, it's just tough. Yeah, Mike. But what I will say about Steph was I think if when you're talking about changing the game, Steph and Jordan had equal impact. I wouldn't say equal. I would say equal, but I would say they had the most impact about changing the game than any 2 players in the history of the game.
Yeah, no question.
But you know what's crazy about that
more-
GOAT discussion? I don't think Steph Curry could ever beat Michael Jordan or Jordan one-on-one. But
That's
I think
not what we
Not
talk
really
about.
it.
I know.
Jordan, like there wasn't a GOAT before Jordan. That just wasn't a conversation people had. It was like Dr. J was seen as that guy. Wilt, Russell.
That was definitely a GOAT conversation.
People just accepted it was Kareem. Like it was whoever the next generational big man was.
No. You know,
But it only
I got a whole bunch of OGs that gonna argue with you. Dr. J.
I just said Dr. J.
Oh, I thought you said people accepted it was Kareem.
I'm saying it was kind of just like whoever was the best in the league, they were just like, yeah, he's that guy. There wasn't like a lot of looking back.
There was a lot of
Whoever you
barbershop
up with.
talks. No, there's a lot of barbershop talk about Dr.
Of course
J,
there are.
Magic. They see some Isaiah fans in there. Wilt, Bill Russell. It was,
Yes.
I don't say it was unanimous.
But what I'm saying is it people were more willing to hand off the baton to the next guy than they are now.
Why does Wilt Chamberlain not get discussed as the GOAT?
Yo,
He's the strongest dude I've
Hardware.
ever heard of.
might be, I mean,
500 pounds he would bench press.
I think he's the greatest athlete of all time.
I don't know about that.
No, dude, there's
Secretary.
He's
No,
in
no,
the
no.
discussion for best athlete of
He's
all time.
definitely he's one of the greatest athletes of all time.
Raw
I,
athlete.
but I don't think he benched 500.
no, dude. He worked out with Arnold on the set of Conan.
Is there film of this?
Yeah, dude. There's pictures of him picking up Arnold Schwarzenegger with one hand, and literally like squatting insane amount of weight and running the 100-yard
I'm talking about
dash.
benching 500.
Yeah,
bro.
dude. He was putting it up.
He could bench press more than Shaq.
Pictures from a Hollywood set aren't really going to sell me.
Hold on, let's see. Wilt,
I need to wait.
Chamberlain.
But PFT, to answer your question, it's because Bill Russell consistently carried him around in his back pocket. That's why.
Okay, so this becomes a Celtics thing. Got it.
He lost to him every year. That's even when he went to the Lakers, he still lost to him. That's why.
Where did Wilt Chamberlain pick up Arnold Schwarzenegger with one hand, bro?
I'll find the picture.
Wilt also
find that picture.
He picked up the bench that Arnold was benching on.
Because if you're talking about this one, the picture might have cropped out
Andre the Giant. Yes.
Yeah.
he
like,
got into
like, he might have been strong, but like 500 pounds, bro, is insane. And like he don't have a frame to have that strength. Like
he had, dude. The thing is, well, think about Shaq. Shaq benches 450.
Exactly.
Shaq's
look at the difference in the frame of Shaq and Wilt Chamberlain.
So Wilt was 275.
Wilt got into a push-up contest one time with heavyweight champ Floyd Patterson.
Man,
and
I'm not hearing any of these stories. Man.
He did 200 push-ups in a row, fingertip style.
Cap.
That's insane.
It's cap. Bro.
He could also run a 4.640 and had a 45-inch vertical.
I believe that.
I mean, him and Russell also were setting like national high jump records in high school. Like they were rivals in multiple sports.
I'm saying that he was definitely one of the most athletic human beings that have ever graced this earth. And like he's one of them cats that could definitely play in this era, right? Mm-hmm. Like a lot of the cats that he played with cannot play in this era, but he absolutely, without a doubt, could.
He also slept with 20,000 women.
Arnold said that he benched
cap on that
500. Well. That's a quote from Arnold.
What do you
Arnold
think the number
mess around
actually
about
is?
That stuff.
I think his number's probably like 5,000-6,000.
Yeah, I give him 5,000.
Still a lot of women.
I'm giving him 2. That's a lot. Dog.
That's still a lot of women. Even if you divide his number by 10, it's still a shitload of women.
I think
now with the modern STDs, I don't know if Wilt Chamberlain could have played in this era either.
So that would be.
Dude would be dead by 23.
If he had sex with 2 different women every day, you'd have to do that for 28 years, 27 years.
Well,
that's if you're doing 4 at a time, you're boosting those numbers.
Good point. Now, what is sex?
Again,
what is sex with 4 count though?
Keep in mind, this is every single day.
Every single one.
Is it 1 pump? Does that count? Is he's stat padding at that point? He's like the Mother Teresa of fucking, where he's like, that's 1, 2, 3, 4.
He's lining them up.
He's baptizing several at once. The spray.
That's just unsanitary. That environment sounds just.
There's no way he did 15.
It smelled crazy in there.
My number is high, bro. And I was doing my thing. I wasn't Wilt Chamberlain famous, but I definitely took advantage. And
4 figures.
15,000 is in mine.
Yeah,
more than likely. Yeah.
Holy shit!
I think the
What?
I think the bench. Wait, what number did you say?
4 figures.
It's up there, man.
What the?
It's up there, bro. I had a run.
What was
your one college athlete and then a pro athlete, like and the best guy on the team? Like, yeah, I believe that.
You probably had a slutty year, right? Like, was there one year that you look back on, you're like, man, 2010?
Yeah. What decade were you just?
I'm saying, brother, I had a decade. It wasn't a year, dog. I would say, see, college was like wild to me because it was, it's like the first time you have freedom, where it's like there's no adults around. And like I could do what I want, and everybody's just enjoying themselves, man. And granted, I was pretty safe. I did.
I was pulling out, you know.
I had my fair share.
Man, that's a crazy year.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I think the 500-pound bench press is way more believable than
20,000.
Will was also doing this in the 70s too. Like that, I believe.
The free love era.
Yeah, his numbers for sure. It's not the most unbelievable. I believe his sex number is more than his 100-point game.
Yeah, he walks.
I don't know about that one.
He's like laying in bed, smoking a cigarette, holding up like 222.
17. Yeah.
I went inside each one of them. It counts.
Wilt to Wilds, like it happened at such like a perfect era for him to be such this tall tale now. Like when he was 16 and in high school, he changed his name and played professionally in a different league because he wasn't 18 yet, just so he could start making money. And he was just giving these like single A basketball players absolute hell. in Western Pennsylvania, in Quakertown, Pennsylvania. He was just giving them hell. Like, can you imagine showing up for your, like, you get off your day job and it's like, oh, I got to cover Wilt Chamberlain under a surname? You shitting me?
Right. What was his surname? Do you know?
It was fuck. I'll look it up.
That's funny.
Yeah, I want to know what his nom de guerre was.
If it's dope, I'm gonna change my Valorant name to that.
Oh yeah,
George Marcus.
George Marcus, yeah.
I don't hate it, George Marcus. It's not enough to change my Valorant name though.
What's crazy is like if you ever see a picture and it's Wilt Chamberlain with your mom, just like if she, like any woman that happened to get their picture taken with Wilt Chamberlain, chances are probably 95% that they fucked.
He averaged 41 a game in that league when he was 16.
That's insane. Yeah, I was looking up his numbers the other day, coincidentally. My guy put up 50 a game one year.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, 50.
And who won MVP?
I didn't see that.
Come on now.
That wasn't
Bill
him.
Russell.
See, there we go with that.
Listen,
I'm not saying he wasn't a beast. I'm not saying he wasn't a beast, but if you put,
I believe the year Wilt averaged 50, Russell held him to 32, which it's like, all right, he still scored 32. You're holding someone 18 points per game below their average. That means he's averaging 60 against the rest of the league.
Still put up 30, dog.
So you're holding him to half of what he's scoring against everyone else?
He still put up 30, man.
Sure.
That's a bad argument. That's a bad argument.
Okay.
You said
half their scoring average is a bad argument?
So you're saying everybody else is just trash. You just not as trash, which that's your argument you make.
That's all I'm saying. No, that means he's scoring easily against everyone else and struggling against the best.
If struggling scoring is 30 plus, then we have
You're scoring
issue
30 on 30 plus shots. That's not a good game.
Well, I mean, I don't know his tally. If you know his tally, then
I don't think they kept my biggest point of contention with that entire era, they didn't track blocks at all, which is insane. I believe Bill Russell would have had, like, we talk about most unbreakable records in sports, like Cal Ripken Jr.'s consecutive game streak. I think Russell's blocks would be that. We just don't know what they are.
That's great.
You know what's crazy is when Wilt was 45, the Cavaliers gave him a contract and they said, please come play for us. And he said, no, I don't feel like it. And then when he was 50, the Nets offered him a contract too. And he said, no, not going to do it. Sorry. And then,
guys, like, I got 4,000 more women to sleep with. I don't get the time.
he's exhausted.
You know what? I'm just saying, I don't think there was definitely quality, but with that much quantity, I think there's a drop off. Do you think you could find
Walt was selling for dogs?
Yeah. I mean,
of course. I think when you're in that mode, you're not really thinking, does this meet my standard?
He's got the Game 6 LeBron face just when he walked into the club. Good Lord.
That's a lot, dog.
I mean, they can't all be dime pieces. I don't think that there are 20,000 women that he met in his life that would qualify as being like.
I don't know if I've met 20,000 people.
A lot of people.
Yeah, that's so many people.
Yeah.
That's like a township. You can set up a town.
I feel like I've met a lot of people in my life. I don't know if I've met enough people to have had sex with 20,000 people.
Genghis Khan didn't even put up those numbers. I mean, actually.
How do you know? Knock on wood?
Just in case he did. Like, why are you knocking on wood?
I don't know. I mean, just try to.
Wait, are you like? What are you upset at yourself for?
I don't.
I
got in trouble for some Genghis Khan comments.
Okay.
Well, to go off
classic Genghis, just getting Billy left and right.
No, because it's like one time I was like, wow, it's so insane the genetic spread of Genghis Khan. Then somebody was like, well, it was all non-consensual, and you're just promoting.
Well, we're not. Stuff. Yeah, I mean, Genghis Khan and Wilt Chamberlain, very different people.
Playing a different
Some
era.
of the most different people are saying.
But also, to take it one step further here, pull the picture of Otto Porter Jr. also playing in these NBA finals, because there may be a lineage there to Wilt.
Oh, really?
How you spell it?
Otto Porter, and then Jr.
Let's do it.
His name is Otto?
Yeah.
Let's do.
All-time worst
You're
name.
picking the Warriors to win the finals. You don't even know who's on the team.
Originally drafted by
I'm
the
not a
Atlanta
Lakers
Hawks,
fan. I
traded
don't
to the
give a fuck
Wizards on
about
draft night.
Yep.
People forget that.
I remember that former Wizard.
Believe that trade
Oh,
ended up getting the
oh
Hawks
my
Tim Hardaway
God.
Jr.
Well, if you look at his father, Otto Porter Sr.,
Listen, we don't know how far back this goes.
Holy shit!
If Wilt was putting up numbers like that, he had to start young.
oh my God, it could be his grandson because there's a
Right.
senior. Oh my God. Wait.
If I had known about this when the Wizards drafted him, I would have become the biggest Otto Porter Jr. I would never let this guy go. Like one day he's going to become Wilt.
There's also people, I believe it's Nate. People think Nate Thurman. Yeah, no, it's the same face.
Bruh. Bruh.
What?
I mean, that's crazy.
That's usually a lot of these lookalikes just be hella racist, but this shit is that's crazy.
Man, I
Wow.
wish Avery were here to see how it's done.
Yeah. That was so funny.
Let's do
I mean, not funny, but
let's do a draft of the most unsimilar people throughout history. If you were to create like your big two, your NBA Jam team of the least similar people throughout history that you can think of, who are we going with?
Big T and Hillary Clinton.
no.
No, the attire I think is similar. I've seen Big T wear
Pantsuits?
a nice smart pair of khakis around the office.
I've never once worn khakis here. Not
Isaac-
long khakis. I'm a khaki shorts guy.
Isaac Newton for being the biggest virgin ever, and Wilt Chamberlain. That's fair, right?
Isaac Newton and Wilt Chamberlain. I feel
Right.
like
I bet Isaac
both threw
Newton
things down.
was getting it back in the
No, Isaac Newton was an
the
incel.
he was the biggest. We had a whole episode about how much of a virgin he was.
No, again though, I think that was Cap. I think he was fucking his roommate.
Wait. Oh,
it might have been a big cover.
for
Yeah,
But he
I think
said that
I thought
he was a
like,
virgin.
He hates sex.
He said like sex.
I mean-
He said that sex is bad because it would distract him from all of his studies.
Yeah,
But that might have been just a ruse.
yeah. I think
A canard.
He was also very short,
Yeah,
and Wilt Chamberlain is very tall.
true.
I think they're pretty big opposites.
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, that's. I think that's fine. That's a fine choice.
Unless they have unless Wilt Chamberlain is huge into physics, which he might be.
I don't think so.
Let's see.
Go.
Malcolm X and Clay Travis.
Yeah. No, I think they're both like orating. I think that's too close.
Yeah. They both preach.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
Like,
different
you gotta-
audiences.
You got to make sure.
Get the fuck out of here with this shit.
Was Malcolm X ever ejected from his son's little league game?
He was definitely ejected from
It said
something.
they both preach.
He was kicked out of the Nation of Islam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or there was a bad call.
Same thing, yeah.
Just giving him shit.
Yeah, I think you need to go further.
No, I think I'm about done on that one. Let's see.
Cleopatra and Bagel Boss guy.
You already gave yours, Billy.
Yeah.
This is a draft.
I've given like 6.
I'm gonna
To be
go.
fair.
I got it. Young Jeezy and Crocodile Hunter.
That's pretty good.
They both.
Just in terms of their outlook on life.
They both what?
I think they have more in common than you think.
Are you saying
I'm
Jeezy's
listen-
the fraud
I'm
and
listening.
Steve
This is the-
Irwin wasn't?
I didn't do this. I didn't do this off my. I didn't do studies on this. This is off my head.
I-
Let me know, Billy.
I bet they could find something in common because that's what I'm thinking.
like-
Like,
Jeezy and Gucci are polar opposites, if you ask them.
No facts.
I bet they both know how to shoot guns. I actually don't know that much about Young
Smidge
Jeezy.
racist.
You think Jeezy shoots guns?
I don't know. Has he ever rapped about shooting guns?
I don't know. Has he, Billy?
I've never listened to
Do
it.
you think J.K. Rowling's ever casted a spell?
Facts.
Nah, Jeezy definitely raps about shooting guns.
Yeah, fucking.
I'm still going Jeezy and Crocodile Hunter.
Okay. it's almost too easy to pair the H-man up with somebody, so I'm not going to go down that road.
That's where your brain always goes.
MLK. Okay, I got one. MLK and Jared from Subway.
I know the perfect pair to H-man.
Who's that?
Who's H-Man?
Hitler.
Oh.
We try not to say his name around here.
I didn't know that he had a fucking nickname.
Dalai Lama.
Old Dolph?
Dalai Lama and Hitler.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're both like leaders that speak in public.
Fuck.
I think they're orators, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Also,
think
Jared led a lot of people to march, like to Subways to burn off calories. No, I'm going to stick with it. Jared from Subway and MLK.
so. Mine is one person and then one abstract, but it's a group of people. Nancy Pelosi and the average American.
Can we make a graphic of these? I'm curious to see what we're going to choose for the average American. It's just a picture of Big T.
Yeah, Nancy Pelosi.
My alternate was Nancy Pelosi and Alvin Kamara. I feel like they have zero things in common.
I low key.
Imagine Nancy Pelosi runs in the club and starts beating the shit out of someone.
Hey, whatever happened to that case? Did it get set? What happened?
I don't think anything.
Like most NFL cases, just kind of falls out of the news cycle.
Yo, did we ever talk about how hot Nancy Pelosi used to be when she was younger?
I don't know.
I don't think we've ever mentioned that.
Well, that was a different Nancy we were talking about.
Oh, that was Dave.
Can I change mine?
Yes, please.
Please. Nancy Pelosi, or excuse me, Nancy Reagan and DJ Khaled. I feel like that's a pretty good tag team there.
We the best.
Venn diagrams
But they're both
that there's
the best.
nothing that touches each other.
They're both the
But
best.
Khaled is staunchly anti oral sex.
Yeah.
He wants that known.
And Nancy's like, uvulas are major key.
Oh my god.
Oh. All right, Mad Dog, do you have one?
Like not really.
Aaron Judge, Jose Altuve.
I got
Baseball.
one. Jesus Christ and Mitt Romney. Because y'all thinking of white Jesus. Look at y'all.
No, but Mitt Romney's Mormon.
They're both into Jesus.
That's what I'm saying.
If you said the Prophet Muhammad and
Yeah.
There are a lot of dissimilarities between Mitt and Mitt's got he's got a lot of kids.
Is that like a disciple?
No, Jesus doesn't have any kids.
Oh.
Or
Yeah.
depending on who you ask.
Well.
If you talk
Depending on you ask.
if you talk to our friends in the Masons, they
In the
might
Masonry.
disagree.
what about
Low key Donald Trump and Arian Foster.
Their numbers are probably about the same.
Ain't no way. Ain't no way he up there like that.
How many? I don't know. Like he lived in New York in the 80s. The only thing is he doesn't really party.
No, he partied.
Did he?
He doesn't.
I thought he was like
drink.
kind of a lame-o.
He doesn't drink or do drugs.
Yeah, but he was just there for one thing.
Actually, you know what?
Pussy?
I've never heard him say that he doesn't do drugs. He always says that he doesn't drink because his brother was an alcoholic, right?
Yeah, I heard he was an Adderall fiend.
Yeah, he might.
That
I
does
think he
not
does
shock
say
me.
I've never drank or done any drugs.
Any drugs? He says that.
I believe so. Yeah.
He's never smoked. I would love to just bake him out.
You don't think he smoked any cigarettes like in the 80s in New York?
I don't know what he
Smoking,
did or
like,
didn't do.
wasn't-
I think he says he doesn't.
Honestly, smoking has made a huge comeback in the past 5 years.
Yeah.
Because people are
What,
trying to
cigarettes?
quit Juuls.
Yeah.
Going analog.
Seriously. I mean, I don't know, at least in my parents' generation, no one, it was all your parents smoked. And you
Yeah,
didn't wanna
my
be like your
grandparents all
parents.
smoked, but then my parents don't smoke. It's like when it skips generations.
So
So we're back on the
with a
cigarette
smoke.
grind.
Do college kids smoke?
Yes.
Yeah,
They do. Okay.
I will not confirm or
Well,
nor
also
deny, but yes.
the prevalence of marijuana. Everyone's doing chops and shit and buying nicotine and.
Well, yeah. And now, I mean, do you consider smoking like having a nick stick,
What's that?
like a Juul
Like a
or a vape?
Nick
No.
stick?
A Nick
Yeah.
stick. I
Nick
guess.
stick.
I have never heard that once
Billy,
in my
have you
life.
heard it?
Yes.
Mick stick.
Yeah.
Nick.
NIC, nicotine.
Nick
stick.
stick.
Yeah. That was dumb of me to say. I'm sorry about that. That was
No, that's cool. That's how you make it cool.
Nick stick.
Nick stick. But would you consider that like the smoking that like our grandparents did in like the 70s?
I think everybody used to smoke. Like,
right. Everyone
Like
did.
my parents, their generation, their grandparents, all of them smoked. They all smoked.
Yeah.
Actually,
All
no,
my
my
like,
mom
pretty much all my
did
grandparents
smoke
smoked.
for a little.
I still think everybody smokes in college a little bit.
Not
Well-
everybody.
Some people are like
I used to smoke
cigarettes.
Black and Miles.
There we go. What was your power rank your favorite flavors? I can do mine too.
It was just original. The rest of them didn't really get. I didn't really like them like that.
You don't like the wine?
Mm-mm.
Wine was good.
I would get wine when it didn't have regular junks.
The wood filter or the wood tips,
Only wood tips, by the way.
those were great.
Yeah.
Would,
Vanilla wasn't bad either.
would you smoke it for the buzz or would you mix it with weed?
No, it was for the buzz. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like I would only smoke. I only smoked if I was drunk.
Yeah.
Like
Mm.
when you drink
Mhm.
and you smoke, and I'm not advocating that anybody do this. When you drink and you smoke a black amount, it just takes you to this level that makes you want to sleep with 1,000 people.
Can I ask a question? That's probably like a white girl question. What's like the difference between a black and mild and a cig?
Oh, go ahead.
Black and mild is pipe tobacco,
Oh,
and it's rolled up in like a small cigar.
okay.
So it's a different kind of tobacco, and you're not supposed to inhale it because there's no filter on there either.
Right.
But occasionally you do because it gives you a nice buzz. But you're supposed to
Okay.
just like inhale it and then blow it out.
Like how
Or
you do that
not-
with cigar?
Sorry, you're not supposed to inhale. You just suck in and then you blow it out. But with a cigar, just like with the black and mild, sometimes you can inhale it, and then that gives you a serious buzz.
I got into a serious wormhole about how smoking is more prevalent in Europe, and the life expectancy of smoking in Europe is so much higher because of the difference in pesticides usage from European source tobacco versus American source tobacco, and how pesticides may have played a huge role in the prevalence of lung cancer in America. Blew my mind. So European cigs don't count.
Sick.
They don't?
Yes.
We go smoke cigarettes.
I haven't really heard that much of
Tu parles français?
like what's going to happen with Southern Virginia and North Carolina as kids
Like when
are
tobacco
just,
fields
yeah,
die?
kids aren't using tobacco anymore. I haven't heard that much from people that live there. Like, I gotta assume that the tobacco farms, which are everywhere down there, are probably going through some hard times.
I still think it's a big enough industry that it's not like crumbling.
They
Well,
should
it's all
just
going to
regrow,
Juul.
replant all their fields with mid-grade marijuana.
Mhm.
That's what they should do.
That's I think what's starting to happen. Not with I don't know if it's with tobacco fields, but like it's just like marijuana fields are starting to or like plants.
Yeah. I think that's a good solution, though. Just subsidize farmers to grow mids in North Carolina. Start a new state in between North and South Carolina called Mid Carolina. And you
It's
just
just
grow
a giant
the
field.
skankiest weed ever. I think that, boom, problem solved, crisis averted.
Mid Carolina.
Mid Carolina. Even do that up in North Dakota and South Dakota. Everyone's going
Mid-Dakota.
gluten free. They're probably losing some value on those wheat fields. Maybe start Mid Dakota.
I was gonna say, do you think tobacco fields or marijuana fields could survive up in those harsh climates?
Probably not up there.
No.
You'd have to it'd have to be a domed state.
What's a domed state?
Just make a dome over
Oh,
the
just
entire
make a
state.
dome.
Make a giant greenhouse out of Mid Dakota. I think we just solved it. Do you guys want to do some voicemails?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's do some.
Hey, what's going on? This is Andrew from St. Louis, Missouri. I just want to start off by giving some flowers to Arian. This last episode with the black hole, I think, was the first time in all your episodes that you called a Mark Wahlberg movie, and it was correct. So well done. Flowers to you, sir. My question for everybody is, if cryogenics improved, what would be your, age that you're going to go and commit to that? Would you do it now? If not now, when would you be willing to freeze yourself? The black hole episode really got me thinking, and I was just wondering, would you be willing to just freeze yourself now for hope of a better future?
So this guy's
Maddie,
asking,
stay gorgeous. Everyone else, stay handsome. Have a good day.
would we kill ourselves?
To hopefully like come back in the future,
No.
or what?
He's talking about freezing yourself. Right?
Yeah, like how
but he
Walt
said,
Disney's
but he
frozen.
said, would you do it now?
What age would you do it at? I think. Is
Well, I
what he
think
was
if it was viable, if it was a viable thing, is what I understood.
Well, it is. You can freeze, like,
But you can't come back to life though.
correct. So, like, people do it when they die, but he said, would you do it now?
Nah,
Like if the technology was there.
I think that's what he was saying there.
No.
I don't understand.
Like if the
question.
technology,
If the technology was there to do what?
to freeze yourself
To
and then
freeze
come
yourself
back in the
and
future.
Yeah.
So to kill yourself so that you could come back at the same age you are now?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then
That
be in like a
seems
future reality.
That seems pretty pointless.
No, because then you have to learn so much new shit. I'm so down with reality now.
So down with reality now.
Yeah,
Not like that
I'm
down, but like day to day.
Yeah, it would be exhausting having to come back in like 200 years. And I mean, think about how different the world is right now from 1823, right?
Yeah.
Like
But
you'd
it's
have,
better.
but
I
try,
think if
imagine a time traveler coming back and being like, okay, so here's your phone. And they're like, what?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
They're like, everything about the modern day. It's like, oh, I need to go to work. He's like, what the fuck is work? Well, you get in your car. What? Excuse me?
That's true.
Everything's
I would-
exhausting.
I would do it if I didn't have kids. Like I want to see my babies grow up, man. So, but if I didn't, if I was just out here living for me, absolutely, I'm over this shit. Take me to where?
Mm.
It'd be kind of cool
Closer.
to do it with like with your significant other. If you guys were both down
That
for
would
it,
be fire.
if there
That
were no
would be
kids,
fire.
but like you talk about a crazy vacation, like let's go to the
We're
year
coming back to
3000.
that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to like. What's that movie? Fuck. What's that movie where they like go to Mars and then they just have to accept the fact
Martian.
that yeah.
Mark Wahlberg.
Oh yeah, that adds up. But like, I wouldn't want to. Let's assume. Okay, you wake up in 100 years.
Wait. That's Matt Damon.
Oh fuck.
what? Who are you talking about?
No, he was right. The movie where I think it's the
I really
Martian.
thought that was Mark Wahlberg.
Like the movie
He
where
just gave me props
they go
for
to
it. That's
Mars
hilarious.
but then they have to like basically say goodbye to everyone because by the time they get back to Earth, everyone's gonna be dead. I wouldn't want to deal with that. I wouldn't want to like prematurely say goodbye to everyone I love.
Hang on. Y'all said Martian. Are you talking about the movie Martian?
No, you're
or-
talking about
or-
Interstellar.
No, she's talking about the. Are you talking about the movie where they like shrink themselves?
No.
Okay.
I'm talking about the movie where they go to Mars.
What movie were they?
Okay.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh no,
No.
that's
There was a movie recently. It may have had Mark Wahlberg in it. I
no.
I
It
think.
was Matt.
No,
Damon.
I know
It
what
was
movie you're talking
Oh
terrible.
no, it was Matt Damon again. and they like shrink.
Yeah, they shrink
to
themselves
live
and
in
then
this,
like go live in a society.
And
But then
his
it gets
wife-
fucked or something.
His
I don't know.
wife didn't
It's
want to
weird.
shrink with him, and then just shrunk him and been like, "I want a divorce."
Oh, I
little
saw that. That
person.
wasn't Mars though.
no,
Yeah,
no,
I
no.
know. But the way she was describing it, it sounded like that's what she made.
Like
it talking about.
I wouldn't want to like.
Was it Mark Wahlberg or Matt Damon?
No,
I
it
think
was
he was
Matt
Matt
Damon.
Damon. I wouldn't want to say
You
goodbye
see
to
the
everyone
confusion
yet.
though. It's a real thing.
Yeah,
They're just in very similar films.
they're same guy, different font.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. Same guy, different font.
Hmm
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if maybe I would do it when I was like 75 or 80.
That'd be when you come back old as fuck.
Yeah, but then I'll
Hell
just
no.
die. I don't know.
Might as well just die now.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
then, like, honestly, at that point, you might as well find out what's in the afterlife. Like, if you really want some novelty.
Yeah, but
You know what
also
I'm
think about it. No, think. Oh wait, well,
It's
what?
like the future,
Oh,
or
you see-
find out if heaven's
you see that-
real.
Spin
You see
zone.
that Talladega Nights where he was like, "My nana is 88 and her birthday's coming up, and I don't know what to get her." He says, "Get her a coffin."
Spin zone. What if? Okay, so what if I live to 80, and then I freeze myself, wake up in like 2200, so like 200 years or whatever the fuck, and then by then they've created something where the lifespan can get extended by a significant amount, then I do like ding, double life.
Double life. Yeah, it's smart.
Okay, it's a fair point. Fair point.
Nah.
That's what the old dude in Contact was trying to do.
I've never seen that movie.
That movie with Jodie Foster.
Mark Wahlberg.
No, I don't think Mark was in there.
No, I know you're talking. That was one of my favorite movies.
It's a good movie.
What old dude?
He was the guy that was like funding the entire trip, right?
And he wanted double life.
And he was in outer space, floating around, like
just trying not to
die from cancer.
Yeah.
But yeah,
theoretically, it would grow slower out there, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you age slower.
It's a good question, I guess, but I don't know. There's so much that goes into it.
also it's hard to like think about it when the technology isn't there. It's like, well, what does that even entail? Okay, ready for the next one?
Let's do it.
Hey guys, and Mad Dog, this is Levi from Grand Rapids. I just wanted to know if you were allowed to have one fictional item from any book or movie, what are you choosing? Thanks. Love the show, guys. Big fan. Bye.
Easy, limitless pill.
Have we discussed this before? Because I feel like
Yeah.
the easy
Possibly.
answer was the remote from Click.
Yeah, and I said the limitless pill.
Oh,
Oh, you said the limitless pill?
Yeah. I think it was like the last 2 or 3 episodes, actually.
was
Yeah,
it?
but I think it was like the item, like not the real thing.
What?
What?
I would like to have.
The
Did someone
remote from
just-
Click. I don't know if you've watched the movie. It kind of fucked his life up.
Wait, but he
'cause
learned
the
a lesson from
autopilot.
Yeah, but you learned a lesson.
Yeah,
from
that's
it.
that's the important part. What about? I was going to say Tom
If we-
Cruise's F-14 from the original.
If we
Top
do that
Gun.
again, I'm doing this, what you just said. That the Contact movie, that little that machine they built.
Oh, so you can go to heaven, basically.
I wouldn't call that heaven.
She went.
Wasn't it? It wasn't heaven. It was like the aliens' way of communicating with them through what they know best, and that's like through relationships.
Yeah. She went to like a different planet, and then the alien took the form of her dad
Yeah,
and talked to her. Yeah.
Yeah. That was
Spoiler
fire
alert.
because. Oh damn! I mean, shit was in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have one of those. That would be fire.
Speaking of Top Gun, I just watched it for the first time this weekend.
The original.
I need to watch because I want to watch the second one, obviously.
So you watch the first
second
one to get
one's
ready.
Fire,
Dude,
dog.
the second one's so sick.
Oh, I love that shit.
It's
I think it's better
awesome.
than the first one.
I think I
And
want to
that's-
see it for different
that's
reasons, and
coming
you
from
guys
a
want to see it. But
lifelong-
There's not
You
that
know-
much of reasons why you want like that like segments like literally like 10 seconds.
Miles
What
Teller,
segment?
Are you talking about the volleyball scene?
maybe.
No, the
Yeah,
no, she wants to see the
football scene.
the dogfight football scene.
Yeah, no, but she's saying that she saw the original, enjoyed the volleyball scene. She wants to see that recreated.
No. I just want to see Miles Teller.
Oh, gotcha.
Dude,
Who's
I
Miles
don't get
Teller?
the Miles Teller.
Billy doesn't think Miles Teller's even that hot, Maddie.
Yeah.
I don't think he's. I just don't get. I know like
More for
10,
me.
10
I don't think it-
guys or
I don't
20
think
guys.
it's for you.
that look
Glenny
like that.
I
Balls
don't think it's
yesterday.
for you, man. I don't think it's for you.
Glenny Balls said that Miles Teller might be the most famous person in America. And
Miles, what's his name? Miles what?
Teller, he's one of the guys in Top Gun. He might not be in the top
100?
1,000,
Yeah.
500.
I mean, this movie's going to
He
make
had-
him more famous.
He had a moment in 2013 to 2015 because he was in all the Divergent movies.
Project X.
And then
Project
he
X.
changed. Then Glenny changed his
War
take to the
Dogs,
most
yeah.
famous movie star in America. He's not even the most famous person in that movie.
Tom
That's
Cruise.
insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
John Hamm. I would say John Hamm is probably more famous than Miles Teller.
Did
Absolutely.
you see
Yeah,
why?
sure.
Did you see why they didn't invite Charlie back? Charlie from the first movie. That was Tom Cruise. That was his fling.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I did see.
Why?
Wait.
I don't,
Because she said because I got fat and old and I looked like what a 50-year-old is supposed to look like. That's what she said.
Oh yeah.
See?
she does. She looks
She's
like
really pretty in the first movie.
she looks like a normal woman. Like normal, like
I mean, she's not overly, you know what I'm saying? I don't think she's over big, but I mean, she got a little bigger. It is what it is.
it happens.
But rightfully, that's how Hollywood operates. They don't want regular looking people on screen.
Yeah.
Did they say that, or she said that she didn't
She
want
said
to? Oh,
She
okay.
said that. They said which was bullshit. They said because I looked it up because I was like, yo, who is this random love story that they just got me invested in. So I looked up why Charlie wasn't invited back, and they said that Maverick, because he lost Goose and he was going, I don't want to give too much away, but he lost Goose in the first one. They wanted his story to be looking forward and not looking back. You know, that sounds like bullshit.
Wow.
That sounds like bullshit.
Yeah.
But I do want to see the second one. It was a good movie. I do want to see the second one. I've heard it's just like a really good movie.
Fucking fire.
Dude,
like,
But also, I don't think it'll be bad.
I was in the movie theater like a little kid, like, yo, they about to fucking. I loved it though.
Yeah, it was great.
I
I agree with Arian. I think it's better than the first one, which
Really?
is saying something. Like the first one was an incredible movie. This
And
movie,
I grew up watching that. Like my mom made me watch that shit. I used to love. Like I could recite all the lines and shit. Like, but like this one's better.
yeah. Tonight, actually, by the time you're listening to this, last night on the Part of My Take Twitch, I flew the mission from the new Top Gun in an F-18 on my flight simulator.
When I was watching it, they said all your plane names, and I was like, I know all of these because of PFT.
Yep.
I meant to ask you after the movie, like the force is that a real thing
The G-forces?
that they talking about? Like I'm talking about if you at that rate of speed, can it really like knock you out like that?
Yeah. So, like, if you've ever been on a roller coaster that goes around a turn or like goes straight up in the air really, really fast, you feel the effect of gravity on your body, and your body feels heavier.
Yeah, no, I know that's the shit. They have a whole ride, you know, around gravity, and you know when you stick to the wall.
Yeah.
But my question was like, can you actually be like knocked unconscious because of it?
Yeah, it blacks you out. So what happens is like all the blood rushes away from your brain into like other parts of your body. So you do black out. That's when you pull back. That's when you experience like more G-forces. And then there's another thing called redding out, which is when your body experiences too many negative G-forces. So an example of that would be like if you're up really high in an airplane and you dip down all of a sudden, everyone kind of like floats out of their seat a little bit.
Oh, but if you're pinned down.
And so what happens is when you red out, all the blood rushes to your head. And so instead of like everything turning black, everything turns red. So that can happen too. So obviously in the flight simulator, I don't have the experiences of the blackouts. Maybe I'll just have to like chug.
So did you actually try the route that they did?
Yeah, so right now, looking forward to tonight, which will have already happened by the time you're listening to this, I had somebody set the mission up for me. So I'm doing the exact same, like weaving through the canyons. And I'm not giving away too much of the movie here because it's pretty early on when they say like what the mission's going to be. I'm going to be doing that entire thing with all the defensive missiles and the bombing and all that.
What time you going live? I'm gonna check you out.
8 p.m. on the Part of My Take Twitch.
Aaron, you made the graphic for his promo.
Oh, yeah, I just tweeted out a second ago because Hank sent it to me. And so he asked me last night because the graphic that I put out, it's the Top Gun graphic, except it's like my head on Tom Cruise's body. And then there's these other vignettes on the side that show like side characters in the movie. And he asked me who I wanted, the 6 of them. So I had Billy dressed up in his army fatigues at the urinal in the airport. And one of them, I had Arian from Draft Day as one of them on there. I think I had me and Big Cat as old people. And then Miley Cyrus, I just tossed her in there.
Why
I'm
not?
gonna hop in there, man. I think I'm following the Part of My Take Twitch. How many people stream from that shit?
It's me. Sometimes Hank and Billy will do Warzone. Sometimes Big Cat does like Coach Doug's where he plays NCAA football on there.
Gotcha.
So
I remember I was watching him one time and he was Tennessee.
yeah.
He was doing Tennessee and I was in the chat and he saw me in the chat. He's like, should I go for it? And I was like, fuck it, go for it, man.
Yeah, that might have been one of the first times you saw Big T, because Big T, weren't you on one of the Tennessee streams
No.
for Coach Doug's? You weren't invited?
No, I wasn't here at the time. I was
Okay.
back in Nashville.
Yeah, it was.
No,
it was like
Billy
right.
was.
It was during the height of the pandemic when there were no sports on whatsoever, and so we did a full season of Doug's, and I know me and Billy was his like offensive quality control.
I think it was the quarterback coach.
You got demoted several times over the course of that season.
Breaking news, guys.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Johnny Depp,
Mm-hmm.
City Boys up.
What
Johnny
happened?
Depp won.
One. Amber Heard owes $15 million in damages.
So what were they?
Oh
What was?
my god!
Can somebody walk me
But
through exactly what they were?
you never get what you're awarded.
Still though.
He'll never get that.
What were they? What was the point of that thing?
I actually only learned in the last 2 minutes.
Were they just put in court just so that everybody could see these two freaks testify against each other?
It was supposed to distract us from Davos happening.
I don't know about that.
It was a psyop.
So obviously the whole thing is, Johnny Depp is suing Amber Heard for defamation. But what I have been seeing is that it was almost like a people's court thing. So everyone was going to side with Johnny Depp. So no matter what happened in terms of the trial, the whole reason why it was so heavily televised was so like people like us would see what's going on in the court every day and be like, well, Johnny Depp, like, obviously, got screwed over by Amber Heard, yada, yada, yada. And no matter what happened in the trial, Johnny Depp would win in people's court, in public opinion.
Oh, and so it was more to get people on his side?
It was like a PR move because
of how bad
and that's why it was in Virginia, because of the Virginia court laws with like putting it on TV and stuff.
Wait, that whole trial was in Virginia?
Mm-hmm.
That goes to show you how little I've been paying attention to the whole thing.
Well, that's why it's weird, because it could have been in California, it could have been in whatever state. Like I think like something about the county.
So it could be televised.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the ruling exactly? What did they determine happened?
So the original article.
She wrote an op-ed saying she was a victim of domestic violence and did not mention him by name, but mentioned the time frame when they were married, and the jury found that she acted with reckless disregard for the truth.
Yeah,
got it. With what thing? What did she publish that was recklessly incorrect?
That she was abused. Of domestic violence.
Yeah.
Okay.
When it seems like that may not have been the case.
Or like maybe it went both ways in this one?
Yeah, I think that's kind of... I didn't pay
just
attention to this at all.
Really bad for each other?
I mean, they both seem like freaks.
Yeah. I think there might have been something on both ends, but she acted, I guess...
Dude, she's a psycho. Like, legitimate. Like, not even...
My shorty was following that whole trial.
Mm-hmm. People in the office were following it.
Like, I'm talking about she was... she literally, right before Billy said that, she texted me and said, Johnny Depp won. Like, right before.
The videos of her, allegedly doing coke while on the stand is insane.
I saw that one, like, in her napkin.
Yeah, she was, like, pretending to blow her nose, and she's blowing, like, sucking in, not blowing out. She's like...
Respect.
Yeah.
Like imagine what a freak you have to be to bring coke into court to use
when it's your own defamation trial
while you're being interrogated in testimony in front of a judge and cameras, and you still can't take like 5 hours off to not do coke.
Like what?
Is it real or is it?
Look, Amber.
Send it to me.
It's wild, bro.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it was a court of public opinion, because his whole thing was, he got ripped out of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Like, he lost all this money and reputation for it. So putting it on TV gets way more, eyes than just if it was a court case.
Now he's innocent in the eyes of the public, and so that he could resume his career.
Well, now he's innocent in the eyes of both, like court of law and court of public opinion. Yeah. So people are like, oh, now people are on his side the whole time, but now it's his reputation being
kind of
it's
regained.
Also to reward him lost wages for like the Pirates movies.
That's why the award is so high. It's because it's lost wages.
Yeah.
And if you're someone like Johnny Depp, that's a pretty big number.
Shit, that looks like she is.
Also, Johnny Depp would love to have you come on Macrodosing.
Yeah, Johnny.
But I cannot wait till he goes on Joe Rogan because he's going.
And Amber Heard. I want to extend the invite to both of them.
Oh, Amber Heard, come on this podcast because Johnny's going on Rogan. We will help sway the court of public opinion
on you.
And you can do as much coke as you want in the studio.
And we'll start a GoFundMe.
Yes.
to pay Johnny.
Yes.
And alleviate some of your pain.
Your debts.
Yes.
Some of your Johnny Depps. Okay. I forget what that question was. That all based off?
It was the one fictional item you'd want to bring? There's one more. You want to do one more?
Yeah, we're running short this time.
We just hit 3 hours. I mean,
we usually do 4. Let's give it to the people. I'm a marathon
Hey,
podcaster.
Kevin from Rock, Illinois. What's something that exists in our world right now that you feel you could go back in time and invent and get rich and famous for it? For me, I feel like I'd have to go all the way back and invent chopsticks because I'm not a very smart individual and I couldn't invent like Google or a computer or rocket or anything.
Ooh.
So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Love you all and love the show. Peace.
I love that guy's realism where he's like,
I'm not that smart. I
but
can't make Google.
I could take 2 sticks and then use
them
them
together
to pick up other stuff. That's setting expectations properly right there.
Yeah, because none of us could invent the iPhone.
Squatty potty.
That's a good one. Invent toilet paper.
How would you make it?
How would you do
How's
that?
the manufacturing process?
You're perforating the paper?
I'm an ideas guy.
No, but that's like
I'd walk back to like
No, this guy is
the year-
actually making chopsticks.
the
Yeah,
year
this guy's
1000. I'd be like, are you sick of taking a shit and then walking around with it all day? There's got to be a better way. And I've got it. You just take this piece of paper and you put it between your ass cheeks.
Did everyone just have like perpetual swamp ass back then?
I think it was worse than that.
Yeah,
I think swamp ass. If you had swamp ass,
called it a
were
mud.
lucky.
That's where mud pie came from.
I do squatty potty. I'm gonna stand with that
Do you
one.
remember the bullshit titanium necklaces that every baseball player
Yep,
wore?
and they
from
balanced you.
I love
2009 to 2014.
the fighting necklaces.
Yeah, I
fucking
had
love
about
those.
8 of those. Major league players, a ton of them were wearing them.
Everybody
that guy,
was.
that guy had to make a killing.
It
I was wearing them.
It all showed up at once too.
Yeah,
In the early part of my takes when we were interviewing baseball players, that would be like the first question I would ask and be like, what was up with those fighting necklaces? Because like were they just shipped off to every team like giant boxes of them?
I'm sure probably.
And everybody was like, okay, let's put these on all together. That
I'm
was
sure. Yeah, he probably just send a box of them to a major league clubhouse and like let the guys wear it because then they just it was a lot of pitchers were wearing them, so you'd see them all the time.
yeah.
And then all the kids started wearing them.
Well, because pitchers are psychos in general. So if you can convince them, like, even if it doesn't work at all, if they think that it works, then,
Right.
then it actually does work.
Yeah.
I want to invent something like that for every pitcher. Like
I wonder if that company still exists.
like earrings,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
clip-on earrings.
Clip-on earrings.
Yeah.
Or something you put on your hat, maybe.
No, you can't do that.
Oh, you can't put
No,
anything on your hat
I don't
anymore?
think so.
Like,
Yeah.
not even anything like that.
Fighting's still going strong.
You know what? I'm still thinking about Top Gun. I want to start a nonprofit where we just raise money to send to underprivileged children to go see Top Gun in the theaters.
I bet. Why underprivileged kids?
Well, kids that can't afford movie tickets. Yeah.
Just because you want everyone to see it so bad?
Yeah.
'Cause you're-
There's no real impact on society besides the fact that every kid would get to go see this awesome movie.
You're trying to get poor children to join the military-industrial complex.
Yeah, that's
There we
kind
go.
of that's kind of militant.
There
of
we
you.
go. There we go. Actually, yeah. I mean, if the government started doing that, I would have some very serious questions.
You just want them to go on Flight Simulator, right?
Yeah, I want to
them.
do it not to recruit them to join the military, but to recruit them to become fans of flight simulation and to start playing the same video games I play. These are
Loki
future
got
Ghost of
me.
Manhattan watchers here.
You low-key got me. That shit looks fun as fuck.
It looks like Fightin has also now been like contracted out by other companies who make similar bullshit to use their website. Like they now sell lotions and gels from some company called Metax. Like, so other bullshit companies have apparently just latched on to the Fightin website. And so now they just sell all sorts of wares.
They're selling traffic.
Yeah. Bedding and bath is now on the Fightin website. Daily care detangling hairbrush. Yeah, so they're just unabashed like bullshit.
They're
now.
product whores.
Yeah.
I think I could invent geometry.
What?
That is a shape.
How do you plan to monetize that?
Well, I forgot about that part.
Billy,
But
why didn't-
I always remember when I was like doing geometry, being like, I could have fucking invented this.
Billy, why didn't you just say Angie's List?
Like these Greeks just had a fucking. 100% could have invented Angie's List. But like basically what happened in ancient Greece is that they like had peace for just enough time for them to stop thinking about like food, sustenance, and they're like, oh, like everything has a shape. We've been doing it subconsciously, but there's these shapes. They exist like this, and they abide by these rules.
I think I could have invented rugby.
Yeah.
You just see a bunch of dudes playing soccer, and you're like, hey, use your hands.
No, you know what's a good one? Racquetball.
Yeah, hitting a ball against a wall.
Yeah, back and forth.
The wheel.
No.
You think you could have invented the
Billy,
wheel?
Yeah.
Billy
Maybe the most important invention
of all
ever.
time besides fire.
I think the wheel was invented simultaneously across the world, like by different people with the same idea.
I don't think there's that many
the wheel
people.
was a common invention for people to think they invented.
I don't know about
Much
that.
like fire or pyramids.
Not many people were making pyramids.
Was fire invented or discovered?
Discovered, I mean, but the process to get fire.
Was
But, like,
math invented or discovered?
discovered?
That's a real question.
I think that's discovered.
I would say discovered.
Yeah, actually,
discovered.
geometry was discovered too.
You're just talking about giving names to it.
Yeah.
That's a
I would
triangle.
have named them so much more cool.
What would you have named a square?
Fucking. I don't know why, but boner just came to mind.
That's the show. We'll
All right,
be back next
no.
week.
Let's explore this. What about a rectangle? That's a chode.
Well, no, it's
No.
longer.
It's like,
Well, it depends on what angle you're looking at.
True.
sleaze.
Okay, all right. So a rectangle.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that.
a sleaze. That's actually good. Yeah, I agree. A circle.
I don't know why, but like an olu.
That's good. I was actually going to say like ombus, something that starts with an O.
Yeah.
An olu. Okay. What about triangle?
Cheats.
Cheats.
How do you spell that?
I don't even know.
I think it's CHEETZ.
Are we listening to Billy make up words right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Why, you got somewhere to be?
This is how the paychecks get paid.
Nah, I mean, yeah, man.
All right. I think Billy would have.
Let's go. How would you say parallelogram?
Slidey.
That's confusing with the sleaze.
Well, it's
different.
It's like
It's a relative.
Yeah, it's relative.
Okay. So far we've got square is not called a boner. Rectangle is a sleaze. Circle is an olu. And parallelogram is a, what was it?
Sidey.
Slidey is a slidey.
Oh, it says slidey. I think it says sidey.
Okay.
We can move on.
No, one more. Pentagon. Pentagram.
Isn't
Pentagram.
Pentagon.
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 You think about
Pentagram is the devil thing.
yeah.
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 Sick.
Arian can't believe what he's doing right now. All right, Billy's right. Billy would have invented geometry. I'll give it to him. When you're right, you're right. Do you have any more voicemails?
No, that's it.
That's it. Okay, that's a good one to end it on. We will see you guys next week. Back to our regularly scheduled programming next week. And again, if you have any suggestions, actually, Big T, give me some Nashville things to do.
Right now?
Yeah.
Leave those Broadway girls alone.
That's facts. Go to Hattie B's. Some people in
I don't like Hattie B's.
Why?
Franklin barbecue. Franklin barbecue is good.
They have a Franklin in Nashville too.
Yeah, Franklin, Tennessee is like the city right outside.
Well,
of it.
it's like half an hour away. I don't know if Franklin Barbecue is in Nashville or if it's in Franklin.
Is it Franklin? I might hold on. Let me
Go to the Johnny Cash Museum and sit and watch his whole recitation in front of the White House in 1978 of the flag, or what's it called?
Okay.
Do you not like hot chicken or you don't like Hattie B's?
I lied. It's called Martin's. Martin's barbecue.
Martin's barbecue. Okay. No, I love hot chicken. Hattie B's is like, I feel like that's too much of a tourist destination.
See, no, that's not true. Like you're not even from Nashville. You can't say that.
My uncle lives there.
Okay, but like, no,
I've been going to
it's the
Nashville my
best
whole
one.
life.
It's the best one though.
Okay.
Like people be like, no, if you actually want like the real one, go to Prince's. No. Hattie B's is the best one.
There was one fried chicken place that I used to go. What was the name of that hot chicken place that it was like a cinder block shack. And I heard from somebody that it closed down like a year ago. Shit, what was the name of it? It was
Cinder block shack.
It was one word. It was like plural. It was like Cooper's or something like that. Fuck. I used to go there every time I was in Nashville.
Yeah, I'm not
And
sure.
everyone I would go with would end up getting real bad butt diarrhea. And I would just take it to the face. Actually,
butt diarrhea.
butt diarrhea. The first time I went there,
Mouth diarrhea different.
yeah, it's definitely different. The first time you have diarrhea of the mouth. The first time I
You
went
do
there,
too. Yours is just better.
the first time I went there, I went up to the counter and it was me and my brother, and we were like, "Hey, can we get the?" They said don't get the hot unless you've been here before. My brother and I ordered the medium, and the lady looked at us and she goes, "You don't want the medium," and we're like, "Yeah, we do." She was like, "Tell you what, if I'm gonna give you the mild, if you want more spice, come back here and I'll add it for you." And it was very clearly because we were two white kids that walked in there, and she just told us right off the bat, she's like, "You are not prepared for this amount of spice." And the mild was hot as shit. Now, every other time I went back there, I got the medium, and the medium was like painfully hot, where like you'd be crying by the end of your meal. But the mild even was like hotter than anything you can get in most, like out of all the Nashville hot chicken I've had, their mild was hotter than all of them. Fuck, what was the name of that place? It's not there anymore, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But give me one more Nashville thing to do, Big T.
What are you looking to do? Like y'all are playing golf?
Playing golf, going to a concert, and then checking out the town.
Leave them Broadway girls.
I mean,
alone?
like, this sounds shitty to say. Like, I feel like I almost shouldn't say it, but like, there's not a ton of shit to do in Nashville.
Rooftop bar.
Like, it's
Several
Broadway,
buckets.
which kind of sucks. Now, I love Nashville. It's my favorite place. If you live there, like, it's a great place to live. But like going to Nashville, like in terms of activities, it's like Broadway and like
Martin's Barbecue, bro.
you can go check out the Parthenon. We have a 2-scale replica of the Parthenon.
That's good. That's nice.
I
might check out. You said it's Martin's Barbecue.
Yep. Unless you want to support the local, homie. I got a dude I went to college with who is a chef there, and he makes bomb ass food, but he's like local. It's like he's not a known chain.
Okay.
I'll send you his shit.
Yeah, send over. Oh, the place was called Bolton Spicy Chicken and Fish. I heard that. Now this is telling me that it's still open right now, but I heard from somebody that it closed. But Bolton Spicy Chicken, it's amazing. It's really good. If it's still there, I'm gonna stop in. That's for sure. All right. Well, that does it for us. We will be back regularly scheduled programming next Tuesday, next Thursday for macrodosing and nanodosing. And go see Top Gun. Go see Top Gun if you haven't yet. It's incredible. I've seen it twice already. Probably going to see it a third time. Maybe tonight. I'm
going today. I'm going again today.
Hell yeah. Awesome. All right. See you guys next week. Love you guys.